Let's see. Channel lives live. Hamas Diddy Piker at a prestigious university. Yeah, Squid and I are going to be talking about these videos, but also, what's up, Demon? How are you doing? Yeah, there we go. Oh, Hamas Diddy Piker. Jesus. Yeah, I think this presentation, or whatever this was, happened quite some time ago. So, I don't know. It was only posted like 2 to 3 weeks ago or so. From what I said. This is mostly going to be Squid's thing. Squid is a known Hasan hater. See, I'm just making sure I got everything set up right now. And we will straight up start in a little bit. Yeah. Actually, no, edit. There we go. Now I got a ping in there. Did it ping? I'm just going to assume it ping so I don't double ping. And do I have permissions in AD yet? No, it looks like they haven't done this stuff for me. Damn. Do. Let's see. Boop. Now I just gotta wait for Squiddy Squid. There he is. What's up?
Hello. God, my cat just does not stop.
Just doesn't stop.
It's going crazy.
Hey, what's up,
No,
Stoat? Stoatsy. Alright, so I got everything pulled up. Is there anything you wanted to say before we start? Because he's got 2 videos. Or we got 2 videos.
Not really. I mean, I'm just, I'm a certified Hasan hater, so I'm just happy to be here to support the cause of being a certifiable hater.
And
Pretty cool.
And why do you hate Hasan?
He's a pseudo-intellectual fuck who is also secretly like a communist, and every time he goes onto like a left, he's like always talking about how you need to like psyop liberals and shit via democratic socialism to bring them into like full-blown like regular socialism and communism. So he also just doesn't like know anything. All his research is done on like Twitter. He's just the fact people take him seriously is like embarrassing for the culture.
Well, we'll see how seriously people at Oxford take him.
I mean, they fucking invited him.
Yeah, I mean, clout.
I guess.
All right, here we go.
To succumb to nihilism, because I urge you not to succumb to nihilism, because there are many other crises out there, especially including the crisis that the Palestinian people face every day. And the truth matters and your voice matters, so continue to keep up the pressure.
Oxford Union Society.
This should act as inspiration that anybody with like a room temp IQ can be an intellectual. Like, goddamn.
Great weather.
Political
Seriously.
commentator on YouTube. Yes, great.
What's up, everybody? I'm Hassan Piker. I just did one of these talks at Cambridge University at
Yes, I
Cambridge
went to
Union
Cambridge, too.
yesterday.
He's making the rounds, but
After
thankfully the news media is picking up on the fact that he supports literal terrorist organizations. So big dubs in the
immediately after that, it feels like a quaint fishing village in comparison to what's going on here. Having said that, however, there was a lot of contest at Cambridge Union, and judging by how the Q&A session goes in the aftermath of this speech,
Thanks, Seffi.
I'm going to make up my assumption on whether the age-old conversation, whichever way that unfolds. Is Cambridge better than Oxford? Is Oxford better than Cambridge? We'll find out. They were very ruthless over there. I'm just letting you know.
Now I
They
kind of
even
want to see
said
the
that
Cambridge
apparently I
one.
was more controversial or more contentious than Ben Shapiro. So, it's interesting times.
I mean, Ben Shapiro doesn't support literal terrorist
I
organizations.
gave a speech yesterday, and I didn't want to do the same exact speech here. So
He does support
while
Trump,
I wrote
so
that speech
bummer.
on the car
Yeah,
ride
yeah.
from London to Cambridge,
It's bad all the way down.
I wrote another one on the car ride from London to Oxford today. Both are going to be haphazard and put together, but it's a serious one. So bear with me. This is not something I normally do. I have the gift of gab. I talk all the time, 8 to 10 hours every single day, specifically on controversial, polarizing political issues.
Doesn't fit.
But today I'm going to try to streamline my thoughts a little bit.
Pisses me off, but I can't be that mad.
Ladies and
because,
gentlemen,
like
I
most-
stand before you
I feel his pain.
in this
so.
Oh, with the neck, with the collar.
Yeah, because usually what happens is you buy a shirt and the neck. If you buy like a dress shirt, the neck and the
Take care, Seffi.
size of the shirt is like linked together, right? So if you get like so I wear like a 41 usually in shirts.
Yeah.
But that means the neck's gonna be
Another.
16, but my actual neck's like 16, or it's like 15 and a half or 15 sometimes, depending on like the material. So a lot of my collars end up looking like a little too big,
Gotcha.
or my shirts just have to be too tight. So
I mean, we know Hassan has the money to like get
yeah,
it more
get it tailored and
texture
fix it. Yeah, I know.
storied, deliberative
Stop me
hall,
from being nice. Good
following
job.
the footsteps of much more credible and much more intelligent thinkers as nothing but a simple man. A simple man who understands right from wrong. And sometimes that's all that matters. In the words of my friend, the late, great Michael Jamal Brooks, there's nothing complicated about apartheid. There's nothing complicated. The morality is clear. If the roles were reversed and a captive Jewish population of 5 million were being systematically starved, sieged, and dominated, as its ancestral lands were being destroyed, there would be no confusion or complexity. It's super simple, he used to say.
I mean, that's just wrong.
There's
But
one group.
One is characterization of it is wrong. So, like, I mean, one, like, it's just very, like, difficult where you have to be like, okay, well, apartheid is bad. And you're like, yes, apartheid is bad. And then you're like, is apartheid happening in, like, Israel, Palestine? It's like, yeah, probably. Like, at least in the West Bank, especially where, like, Israel technically has, like, control, but it's all Hamas. And they're, like, cutting off, and they're, like, not treating them as well as other things. Like, yeah, that's obviously a problem. But then you also have to be like their ancestral land, and then you're like, well, Palestine is like a concept that didn't even exist until like British mandate Palestine. So that was like after after World War I, like
So-
the Ottoman Empire falls.
So you've been looking more into this?
This is just like general shit. Like I might be
Okay.
off on some of the timelines, but it's like I mean the if you put me back in time and like Israel starts coming about, like do I support Israel? Like no, probably not. But I am
Mhm.
also just like, well, it's been 80 plus fucking years, and Israel's still there. Like I know it's just as like a matter of simplicity. It's like if you've conquered something and held on to it long enough, like it is just kind of like de facto yours. Like it doesn't, like if you take over land and you've held on to it for almost 100 years now, like I don't know, bro.
Functionally,
Yeah, like you can
I mean,
complain about it. Well,
yeah. I mean,
well,
like,
and then the other problem
yeah, I
is
don't
like the
know.
farther away you get from it, the harder it is to be like mad. Like you can't be mad at like a 20-year-old Israeli for Israel, right?
Yeah,
Like he didn't do anything
can you do
wrong.
anything that?
Exactly. So
Yeah.
then when you have like the farther away you get from the event, the like less morally culpable the like entirety of the nation is
Hmm.
towards its like own how it like came about. You can still say there's problems with it, but it'd be the same like if somebody asked me like would I give back all the land to the Native Americans? My answer is like no, I would not do that. Like no. So same shit. I mean
Yeah.
it's like cold-hearted, but same shit.
I mean, it's like when it comes to the Middle East, there's so much like generational grudges.
Yeah.
So, and
Yeah.
it's like, and that's like almost part of the culture at
Yeah.
this
Well, and
point.
I
So it's like so ingrained that it's. I mean, it's been a problem for a long time, but it's like, how
yeah,
do they break out of
there's
it?
definitely that is like a massive issue. Well, especially when you like are Palestinian and you are like raised in a place where like Hamas has just been in control for like so long, and like all you've ever known is like or like maybe not all you've ever known, but like a large swath of you known is just like living in shitty conditions, and then everyone's like, oh, it's all Israel's fault, and it's like well, Israel has pieces to blame, but then you also have to remember you have like a terrorist organization that like specifically works in civilian areas, so that way more civilians die, like as many die as possible,
Yeah,
or like
I have to look a bit more into Hamas strategies because I remember you were bringing up like use of human shields and stuff. I don't really know much.
yeah.
I mean, we just don't have that much current information other than what Israel and the UN says and what Hamas
Right. Well,
says.
you don't even.
Is
Well, I mean, you don't even need that. Like, you can just. There's videos of them like taking hostages into hospitals.
yeah.
Like, you can just see footage of it. Like, it's
Was
like
it is
very
it,
clearly
well,
happening.
wasn't that back in 2014 or something?
No, there was one that they did recently. When there was the what was it? The Al Shifa hospital bombing.
Mm.
That was like maybe almost a year ago or like about a year ago, and people were like, "Oh well, Israel bombed a hospital because they're evil and they hate everybody." And then like, no, it just turned out there was like terrorists operating within the hospital.
Well, but there were also civilians in the hospital, right?
Yeah, but right, but
So it's
because
like,
I just love the UN's definition of human shielding is literally so high IQ that it is like
you just have a base of operations in a populated
yeah, well,
area,
because
basically.
you have to think about it like game theory wise.
Yeah.
Like, let's say you make it a war crime to attack a civilian population at any point. Okay, what
Mhm.
does this actually in real war? What does that actually mean? That means you have now incentivized the army to be in civilian areas because
Mhm.
then
Mhm.
if anyone ever attacks the military base, they're 100% going to kill civilians. And now you've like your good intentions of like never kill civilians has actually resulted in like the horrible outcome of all military operations happen within civilian areas now. Like that's all
Yeah.
you've done. So now you have to ask yourself like, okay, so how do we like bypass this problem? So the actual bypassing is like the human shield definition where it's like you can't operate military installations within a certain like area of the population. And so some people have this like stupid ass critique where they'll be like, oh, well, the West Bank is like super filled up with people and all this other shit. It's like, right. But Hamas doesn't even like try to mitigate where, like, if Hamas cared about the civilians, they wouldn't have had hostages in a hospital with sick people and like children. That just doesn't
Sure,
make sense.
but it's still not the civilians' fault necessarily.
No, I know. I'm not saying it's the civilians' fault. I'm not
Yeah.
blaming the civilians. But my point is like, if I see Israel like blow up a civilian thing,
Yeah.
and then I would be like that is bad, like in a vacuum bad. But then if I'm like, oh yeah, well, Hamas was operating out of it, and also Israel has like some of the most complex procedures to like inform people to get out of the area, which they do. Like the only way they could be more thorough is if they literally like knocked on your door and was like, please leave because we're going to blow up this building, which is like,
Suicidal.
yeah, exactly. So it's just like, whatever. But and then he talks about like, yeah, the apartheid structure, which is like, obviously it's bad. Well, I also would reject as a genocide. I also reject that there's like there are people who have starved, but the idea that there's like starvation in Gaza that's widespread is like also incorrect. But
Well, I know Israel, right, was planning to cut off a lot of the aid, right?
yeah, it's because Hamas steals it and then they sell it.
Is it... I just wish
Yeah.
we had like more eyes on the ground.
I mean, it's hard. It's a
Yeah,
fucking
yeah, it's a war zone, right?
But you can literally see, like, there's the video that came out. To be fair, I only read this headline, so I didn't actually read the story. But there was like videos of people now, like, aid actually got through and Hamas didn't grab it, and then people were like, "What? People are giving us free stuff? This is crazy. Like, this never happens, even though it's supposed to be like exactly what's happening all the time."
Yeah, I've seen. I mean, obviously, this could be totally doctored. Like, I'm taking almost anything I see on this conflict with at least some grain of salt. Like I saw a while back, like footage of Hamas hostages being like well taken care of and stuff like that, and maybe that's dependent on the location.
Yeah.
So like maybe some Hamas are taking care of them, and maybe some definitely aren't.
So you should just ask
it's
yourself, I mean, what you should ask yourself, like, does that even really like matter? Like, you still are committing a war crime of taking some like non-combatants hostage.
Sure.
Like,
I mean,
guess
yeah.
it's for a PR win. Also, I mean, I would also say it's not like that's just not. I mean, maybe it's like true in some like super rare scenarios, but then it's like you can look it up. They'll be like, yes, this person was raped while in custody, and you can.
Yeah.
So
it's like-
I mean, like I said, if you show me videos of them being like, look at how nice they're being, I'm like,
It's
that's
like
cool.
they're still hostages. Also, here's
Yeah,
this
they're
other
still
video where
hostages.
they're still doing awful things.
They're still doing awful things, and like, it's like Hamas clearly understands like PR.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, just post like a couple random fuck off videos of you being nice to hostages, and then people in the West are gonna be like,
Yeah,
oh.
because I remember I was like talking. Was I even talking with them? I was talking a bit with like leftists a while back on it, and obviously some of them are pro Hamas, like straight up. Because
That's just insane.
yeah. So it's because they think Hamas isn't as bad as what the UN and Israel say.
What a
basically
knuckle dragging.
and like I was like, all right, well, I guess I'm curious, so I decided to look into it. You have to dig like real deep to find anything. And it's like at that point it's like, if I had to dig that deep, then it's probably not true.
But
Right.
I have to go like that crazy deep into it.
Yeah, it's like I can find anything about anything if I dig hard enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I mean,
crazy.
I'm
People
still
like,
obviously I'm not pro Hamas. I'm also not pro Israel.
Yeah.
Really. So it's
yeah,
like-
that's crazy that there's people you've talked to that are like unironically like, yeah, bro, we support Hamas.
yeah. Well, like
fuck.
in their eyes, they're not. I mean, maybe they do think they're terrorists, but these are also probably accelerationist
Yeah,
leftists.
no, what
So-
you have is no, Hassan has the argument. He just goes like, did you know Nelson Mandela was he was on the terrorist watch list too? Did you know that? And then it's like, yeah, well, Nelson Mandela's entire movement killed like I think 200 people, and he always said that was bad and always like push for
Yeah.
peace as much as he can. Whereas Hamas
actively
takes hostages in hospitals and actively tries to get civilians targeted. So like, yeah.
Yeah.
You can- like I can still acknowledge that like the literal government defining something as a terrorist group does not necessarily hold bearing on like the moral worth of the thing. But then I'm like, okay, that's a fair enough point. Let's just go look at the actions
sure.
of the institution. Like Nelson Mandela constantly pushed for peace. He had like a handful of radicals. His wife was like a crazy radical. Overall though, like tried to push for peace as much as possible.
Yeah.
Hamas literally
It's
wants
like-
the destruction of the state of Israel.
It's almost
these
like
are not
comparing Martin Luther King to fucking Malcolm X.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Yeah.
Martin Luther King, everyone get along. Malcolm X, literally supported by like Klan members because he supported shipping all black people to Africa. Like it's just not even fucking. It's just not even. Yeah, it's not even comparable.
Israel that has enormous power. It's the most powerful country in the Middle East. It's backed by the United States, the most powerful country in the world. It acts on a population of people with total impunity. It is never held accountable for anything. So there's no symmetry in this relationship.
I mean,
period.
Israel has the most UN sanctions in all of history, but okay.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
Which,
but
I shouldn't bring that up because then I will also be like, and that's because they hate the Jews. So, because it doesn't make sense that Israel has the most when you have places like Libya that has actual slavery still happening. Like, it doesn't make any fucking
God. Yeah, it's
for Israel to have the most like,
yeah, I mean,
UN complaints.
I kind of get what he's saying when the U.S. is like supporting it to a pretty big extent, isn't it? Obviously.
Oh yeah, we give them a shitload of money and weapons.
Yeah. So I get it on that point, I guess, but
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, but we're literally like contractually obligated to do it.
I mean, even if we weren't, I would still say do it. So yeah, give them money, give them weapons. Maybe not for long. Now that Netanyahu can just do whatever he wants because Trump's like actually.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is about
Kill
like,
him, bro.
Trump.
So,
Hello, Jack
obviously,
Devine.
if Israel does just legit, unironically, just like do a cute little ethnic cleansing and ship every Palestinian out of the West Bank, I would be like, that was fucked. You should not have done that. How dare you?
Yeah. Jack asks, well, shouldn't an ethno-state be destroyed? I mean, Israel is an ethno-state.
Well, it's made for Israelis, but the idea that like you can't be non-Israeli inside of Israel is just wrong. Like, and it was founded as an ethno-state. That's not really like up for debate. But my question is just like, how does it treat like? As far as I know, like if you're just an Arab in Israel, you can be fine if you're a citizen. Or like there's Palestinians that live in Israel that are also citizens and like have full rights. So the idea that it's like, oh well, it's just treating everyone bad besides Jews now is just like doesn't seem correct.
Yeah, well, I know like socially some of the other groups can be treated pretty poorly because they're in the minority groups, but that's not a policy.
Yeah, that's not like ethno-apartheid or something.
Yeah.
Like otherwise you'd have to say like America's ethno-apartheid and all that shit.
Jack, you can't own land.
Arab citizens of Israel, also known as Palestinian citizens of Israel, have the same legal rights as Jewish citizens. You can just say they offer a significant,
Can they own land? I don't know.
It says that they experience de facto discrimination.
Yeah, sure. Israel continues to recategorize land as military zones.
Okay. I mean, I would still okay. What am I supposed to do with that information? Arabs represent 1/5 of Israel's population. Because if you're asking me like, should I destroy the only functioning liberal democracy in the Middle East, where like it was founded as an ethno-state but is no longer an ethno-state? Like, yes, I will support that. Like, the origin of a thing does not necessarily bear on like the current thing. Yeah. Like Margaret Sanger was a racist and she started Planned Parenthood. Like, I don't give a fuck.
All right, we'll continue the video.
Yeah.
That's why I don't think there's any need for obfuscation. No arguments of complexity, no reasoning for preemptive genocide. Israel is an apartheid state, and its inception was a violent one, with the forced displacement of 700,000, which gave birth to a settler colonial entity that continues to dominate the lives of more than 5 million Palestinians. Its demographic concerns are never seen in the same lens that we view nationalist and fascist projects of the past. It also happens.
Jack says he's saying Israel shouldn't exist now. Shouldn't exist now.
Okay. Well, he's wrong.
I mean,
That's
what do you by what measure or context? Or...
Yeah, I guess the question would be like, why? Because you can just say like, well, it started as an ethno-state, but it's like not really. I like to say it's like an ethno-state when you still have people like legally people can have the exact same rights irrespective of their ethnicity, and they do, and like 1/5 of the population is Arab. Like, I just don't see a reason to believe that it's this like horrific thing. They can do. Let me put it this way though. They can do like bad shit, obviously. But then it's like, am I still gonna support Israel? Yes.
Let's see. Okay, so one of the reasons it's considered an ethno-state is because of its basic law. Israel as the nation state of the Jewish people, passed in 2018, defines Israel as the national home of the Jewish people and outlines responsibilities for fulfilling this purpose, but it doesn't mean that they have like stuff.
I mean, again, I don't really like. Yeah, I don't. That. Okay. Like, what do you want me to do with it? I can say like I don't know. It doesn't really shock me that the Jewish people like want a state. I mean, we can quibble about like, oh well, they shouldn't prioritize Jewish people over other people. I'm like, yeah, sure, you should just prioritize like the best for the society. But I would have to. But my question would be like, okay, but the legal rights of like non-Israeli or like non-Jewish people, are they the same? Yes. Okay. So then what do I do? Like, I don't know.
Let's see, hold on. I'm looking at the Israel as the nation state of Jewish people law.
Yeah. I mean, look, even if it's there, I just don't think it's like super relevant. I don't really care.
Yeah, they don't. He says, yeah, they don't have the same rights.
I mean, an Arab citizen holds Israeli passport and are entitled to vote and stand for election. And the same, like, they have the same legal rights as far as I know.
Jewish people, in which it fulfills its.
You can say like people in the West Bank don't, which like could be, yeah, that would probably be true because the West Bank is just like constantly being occupied and fucked up. But if you're talking about in Israel itself, no.
Let's see. Yeah, here. The state will strive to ensure the safety of the members of the Jewish people and of its citizens in trouble or in captivity due to the fact of their Jewishness or their citizenship.
Yeah, I mean, you can still.
Yeah,
like
it's saying it's like I think this is just kind of a formal recognition.
Yeah,
of things like Hebrew is the
thing that everybody knew.
Yeah, Hebrew is the state's language.
Yeah.
Arabic language has special status. Regulating the use of Arabic in state institutions or by them will be set in law. Does not harm the status given to the Arabic language before this law came into effect. So, well, at least this seems to be just kind of a formal
like I don't
thing as far. Anyway. Uh-oh, where'd the videos go? There we go.
Happens to be one of the most impressive nationalist projects the world has ever seen. From the revitalization of Hebrew as a language to finding a nation state for a revolutionary people who had been historically oppressed.
I also have
the countless pogroms.
I have a schizo theory that one of the reasons leftists hate Israel so much is because the USSR was the first country to ever recognize Israel as an independent state. And USSR gave a shitload of support to Israel when it was first around, and they still allied themselves with the US. That's like a pet schizo theory that I will never bring up in an actual argument, but I do love it.
Let's see. Jack says the Palestinians don't have freedom of movement. They aren't the same, at least in the areas we are talking about.
Right. So in the West Bank, that is bad. Correct. Yes. Or but within Israel itself, they have legal rights. Right. Like I can acknowledge that it's bad and that they should treat them better. Like, yes, I can both do this and then also be like, Israel should exist.
Like, I don't know if you were here earlier, Jack. I'm definitely not pro-Israel. I'm also not pro-Hamas. I would say, I guess I'm pro-Palestinian citizens. Right.
Yeah. And it's just
so I'm pissed at both.
And I mean, if I ask myself, like, what's the best outcome? Even if I concede all of your like Palestine points, even if I do that, is like, would we genuinely believe the destruction of an entire state is going to be like the best outcome? Like, probably not. No, that seems like almost by default is going to like create more horrible instability. So
the
says, I'm not either. Yeah, I mean, yeah, okay. I'd have to look specifically into Israeli law, but that's not necessarily a focus of my attention right now. The war is a bit out of my scope,
It's a little
even
out
though
of
we're
my
watching this right
I
now.
have to run my mouth on it, so it's fine.
Holocaust, Israel could have
Might
been a
doesn't
story
make
of
right
success
morally.
and overcoming great odds. Except its inception was built around a vicious lie that this was a land without people for a people without land. And this lie was very quickly also countered by the likes of Albert Einstein, who was supposed to be the first president of Israel. He turned down that opportunity.
Wait, is that a thing?
Having appeared as a witness before the Anglo-American Committee of Inquiry, established in 1945, to consider the issue of Jewish immigration to Palestine,
The presidency,
Albert
but then
Einstein
again, really,
famously wrote,
Israel's crazy.
I have served as a witness before the Anglo-American Inquiry Commission on Palestine for the sole purpose to act in favor of our just cause. I am in favor of Palestine being developed as a Jewish homeland, but not as a separate state. It seems to me a matter for simple common sense that we cannot ask to be given the political rule over Palestine where 2/3 of the population are not Jewish. What we can and should ask is a secured binational status in Palestine with free immigration. If we ask more, we are damaging our own cause. And it's difficult for me to group that our Zionists are taking such, and it's difficult for me to grasp that our Zionists are taking such an intransigent position which can only impair our cause. And his fears were very quickly realized.
What's up?
All right, and that was my cat.
Okay.
Keep going.
That was in 1946 when he wrote that. Only 2 years after, in April 1948, two Zionist militias, Irgun and Stern Gang.
Oh, hey, Lightbringer.
What is appeal to authority? bro.
Lightbringer says, I mean, Einstein was a terrible husband. What is this? Oh, yeah.
But I looked it up. Einstein was offered the presidency for Israel. So
that's actually pretty
neat.
crazy. Yeah.
That is a very like
Neat.
sued kind of idea where you're like, smart guy.
Mm-hmm.
He does math. Make that fucker the president.
Dude, smart. I mean,
Literally.
honestly.
Entered the Palestinian village of Deir Yassin and slaughtered hundreds of Palestinian men, women, and children. Those who were
I mean, kind of going what you were saying earlier, like Hassan's going over like the history
Yeah.
between Israel and Palestine. It's like, yeah, there was a lot of shitty stuff. There continued to be a lot of shitty stuff, and there is currently shitty stuff.
Yeah.
But
The
things were
question
still
is-
different back then.
Yeah.
Like-
Well, even then, you don't even have to say they were different. You can still what you just do is you just like concede and you just go like, yeah, the Zionists were bad. Like I said earlier, I was like, if I went
Yeah.
back in time
Yeah.
and just like Jewish people showed up in a country and were like, we want this, give me. I'd probably be like, no, don't give it to them. That seems a little stupid. But now it's just been like 80
Set in
plus
stone.
years.
Yeah, set in stone.
They're like the only functioning liberal democracy in the Middle East. They're like a super useful ally to the U.S. They're like better than, well, just like by dint of them being a liberal democracy, I would consider them probably better than like every single country in the Middle East. It's like full stop, right? Like if like you can give me all the critiques, but at the end of the day, I'm still gonna be like, yeah, but like.
Yeah, I actually don't
Like-
know that much about Middle Eastern civilization, to be honest.
I mean, I won't pretend I'm like a fucking giga.
Sure,
hype
but you
guy
know,
about it or something.
you probably know more than I do.
It's just all like monarchies or they're like civil wars or something.
Yeah,
It's
and
like
then,
it's just not good over there.
let's see, in the U.S. has a alliance with Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, we have like alliances. A lot of people we
something.
shouldn't have alliances
Yeah.
with. Or well, okay, I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say shouldn't, but
Yeah.
like we are friends with morally dubious people such as Saudi Arabia.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean the other reason I just like generally side with Israel is I'm like For me, like the fastest way to get to peace is if you get rid of Hamas, because then Israel can't keep complaining that they're under attack. Like the moment Israel stops being under attack, they just have to start treating them better. Like the international pressure would just be so strong, including from the U.S. Like everyone in the U.S. would just be like, okay, so you're not being bombed by terrorists anymore? Like no, okay, so what the fuck are we doing? Like why is the West Bank still shit? Like let's fix this.
Well, and then like obviously Netanyahu and Trump allegedly want
Yeah.
to make the whole thing into a thing, and
Yeah, well, they want to take over. They just want to take over the whole area, which is
Yeah.
also like I would say is a terrible idea. Like, don't do
Yeah.
that. And like other shit, I'll condemn. I'll be like, the settlements are stupid. Like the fact that Israel keeps. Obviously, I'm not gonna be like it's all Hamas's fault. Like if Israel stopped
yeah.
making fucking settlements, I'm sure that this would help. Like please
Yeah,
stop
yeah.
making settlements. It's so mind-numbingly stupid that you keep making settlements, and then just kind of like shrugging your shoulders when it happens. Like it's so stupid.
I will be right back. I just have to feed the animals. Do you want me to play the video for you, or are you just gonna chill here for a bit?
No, we can just wait for a second. That way you can
All right.
keep
Yeah, I gotcha.
watching. Is anyone in the chat that wants to yell at me? We can do that. I'm always happy to get yelled at.
Isn't that right, kitty? Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Oh, you good kitty. Always you. Yeah.
Jack, if you're still there, we can chat. Saying might doesn't make right morally, which is true. That is correct. But there's also just like acknowledging facts on the ground. Like there is just the reality of like a thing has existed for an extremely long time. And it's just kind of like over. I don't like.
Isn't that right, kitty?
I feel like my position, at least whenever I talk about it, everyone seems to think my position is like, oh yeah, bro, I just like Israel is actually just great in every way. They've never done anything wrong. Even though Israel's done like so much wrong, it's more just like if I have to choose between like a literal terrorist group or Israel, like I'm gonna choose Israel. And then the Palestinians just keep losing. They never win. Nobody in Palestine ever wins. All they do is lose 24/7. So like fucking rip. And then stupid assholes like Hassan are just gonna keep talking about how like yes, you support Hamas. If you guys support Hamas, then really things will finally get started. Things will finally get good if you just try and make sure Hamas stays afloat. It's like okay, well it's just not. It's just not true at all. It's just absolutely fucking absurd. Should make a thumbnail for Chrome's live streams. What's like a debate streamer? He needs to show me. There's that one debate streamer that he watches, that communist guy. He's a fucking goofy goober. What is his? What's his stream pictures? What does he do? Where is he at? Javon, that's his name. Javon Bradley. What's your live stream picture? Oh, wow, your thumbnail sucks. Jesus Christ. What we need. All right, I'm already constructing ideas. Like good thumbnails. It's a fucking Tucker Carlson. The dark truth about antidepressants. Oh my god, I can't wait. Thank you, Tucker Carlson, for bringing it to light. This horrific thing. Oh my god. We appreciate you so much. Jesus Christ. I just hate I hate modern media so much. It is like the worst. But you know, I guess every time I see Tucker Carlson, a little piece of me does die because he is like the worst human ever. He's just the fucking worst. God, I hate him so much. Fuck. If there's one guy who is just like completely warping the minds of like all boomers in the world, it's that motherfucker. Just completely and utterly destroying it by like actively, literally supporting like racist theories, and he talks about fucking great replacement theory on stream. Like, Jesus Christ, dude. Actually fucking disgusting.
Yes, hi, kitty. Hi.
What does he call his streams? We're gonna use this as a moment to just steal 1v1 debates, 1v1 debate a leftist, trans debate. Could we put debate a liberal? That's not a terrible idea. What's up, Testicle Gobbler? What's up, Trish Mop? Oh yeah, Testicle Gobbler said hello. Hello, Testicle
Not my
Gobbler.
Testicle Gobbler.
Yeah.
All right, let me pull this out. Hello, Testicle Gobbler.
But no, I was just complaining about Tucker Carlson, and then I got distracted, and I'm like, we need to make a thumbnail for the stream.
Oh, that'd be cool. Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe.
and then I was also thinking, because the fucking Javon Bradley, he says debate a leftist, and I'm like, this
Yeah.
is a good idea. What if we just I just don't know how much you are willing to identify to be like debate a liberal or something.
I mean, we can do that when you're on.
Okay.
At the very least. All
Yeah.
right, what's going on? Are you two debating? The two of us are. I mean, we're seeing if anyone wants to come in to debate. We're also reacting to Hassan at Oxford. So.
Fuck that guy.
Yeah. And as you can see, I have a couple topics on the board. Bring back Abrego Garcia, or Christian nationalism is real bad. If you disagree with either of those topics, feel free to copy paste the link in the title, and that'll put you into a waiting room where we can drag you up. Otherwise, just feel free, hang out, chat in the chat.
We need to politically identify. What would be like an acceptable political identification for you?
Progressive.
Progressive? All right, fine. I'll put that in there.
Yeah.
Dunzo.
Trish, I can't think of TED Talks now without thinking of Sam Hyde's TED Talk. My brain has been tainted. Yeah, sadly, I'm not educated enough with either of the topics. That's all right. You know, again, feel free to just hang around, chill. We'll see if anyone does come up. Otherwise, as I said, we'll be watching the video. We're just gonna kill them.
Just hate watching and wanting to throw up and die.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm chilling. Squid's having a time.
I am very upset, as per the usual.
All right. You want me to continue the video?
Yes, sir.
Were not slaughtered or tortured initially, were paraded in the back of trucks in the streets of Jerusalem, only to be executed later. This was a warning for all of the other Arab villages of what's to come. This was a calculated atrocity to carry
Could
out
do
the
another
forced
topic, fuck
expulsion of
Hamas and fuck
700,000
Israel.
Palestinians from their homes, never allowing them to
Everyone will be
return.
like, what
This
do we do?
is what is known to Palestinians as the Nakba, catastrophe. Einstein wrote a letter at this time.
Oh, thank God.
In his
I'm bringing
letter,
up
he
Einstein
said,
again.
when a real and final catastrophe should befall us in Palestine,
That was
the
good.
first
Help.
responsible
Their
for
D&D
it will be the
character, 'cause I
British
No character
Sorry.
good anymore.
He was right. And the second
Trish is
responsible
gonna be
for it
one of the ones
will be
playing?
the terrorist organizations built
Hell
up
yeah.
from our own ranks.
Let's go.
I am not willing to see anybody associated with those misled and criminal people. Now, the people that carried out these acts of horror would later become prime ministers of Israel. The Nakba was, in the words of historian Ilan Pape, a master plan for the mass expulsion of the Palestinian population, also known as Plan D or Plan Dalit. Hundreds of thousands were expelled before Israel's so-called War of Independence had even started.
Yeah. What was the Hamas's reasoning for doing the initial attack on October 7th? I don't actually remember.
Fuck Israel. Like, I don't know. This is basically it.
That's what all the missiles that were launched had written on them. Fuck Israel.
Yeah, well, like, what the fuck else? Like, just
Yeah.
unironically, like, they just targeted a group of
it's just
innocent civilians for, like...
I mean, it's just... Well, like, I have to wonder what the point... Because they had to have known there would be so much backlash and that it would be pretty destructive.
Yes.
Going into my own schizo brain theory, it's a false flag operation.
It's just, like, it's just...
Israel all along or something. I don't
mean,
know.
they just want to destroy the state of Israel. That's it. Like, anything that pushes that narrative is going to be good.
I wonder if it was just like one jackass and Hamas is like, I have control over the missiles. Some shit.
I mean, I'm sure they have some. Well, because they didn't just like I don't
know.
always launches missiles, but then they like blow up the wall, and then they go in and they kill a bunch of people, and then they like rape a bunch of them, and then UN says like there's probable cause that like these people were raped, but also they were killed and set on fire. So like good luck finding who raped them. Yeah. Well, and then you have stupid shit like Hassan and his fucking Ethan Klein debate where he's like, there's only circumstantial evidence, but he doesn't know what that means. Like, circumstantial evidence would include like your semen on the fucking woman you raped. That's circumstantial evidence. So he like doesn't. It's just,
so yeah, he doesn't even. Okay.
No, so he has no fucking concept. So when somebody says circumstantial evidence, that's not like, oh well, you know, a lady, you know, she said she might have seen
It's not
something.
necessarily hearsay.
No, like direct evidence is. Yeah, direct evidence is like you admitting to a fucking crime. Like, physical evidence still counts as circumstantial. Because theoretically, your semen could be on her because she got blown up in a sperm bank, or, you know, or some weird shit like that.
Imagine.
Right? So, but, yeah. So, he's just a dumbass. He doesn't fucking actually understand, like, what he's talking about.
Talk to people who do future potential for abortion, but like if you were in a sperm bank and semen landed on your dress, would you be inclined to save that semen due to its innate potential?
Yeah, that's right. To ensure that more babies will be born.
Minister David Ben-Gurion, to use Pape's words, orchestrated an ethnic cleansing
What you
of
gonna be
Palestine.
playing as Trish?
These were not merely nationalists or settlers run amok. This was clearly defined state policy. Einstein considered the early Zionist militias to be violent, and Menachem Begin's Herut, a political party closely akin to its organization, methods, political philosophy, and social appeal to the Nazi and fascist parties. Einstein understood the dangers that nationalism of this sort presented. After all, he'd fled Nazi Germany. He had seen it firsthand. Nowadays, this sort of analysis is met with tremendous resistance. Given our comforts living in the heart of empire, we focus more on the feelings of those in the West, rather than the violence that our tax dollars contribute to.
The heart of the empire.
Israel could not carry out its occupation without unlimited Western weapons and Western support. This is where propaganda to the West plays a very important role. Facing centuries of violence, Israel uses the very real fears of anti-Semitism to reinforce the necessity of a Jewish ethno-state, often claiming that no Jew would ever be safe if it wasn't for Israel. This is something that you hear all the time. You even heard it from my demented geriatric president, Joe Biden.
I know, he did. By the way, Hassan didn't tell people to vote for Joe Biden, so. He's just like a
Did
fucking
he tell people to vote for Kamala?
No, he was basically just like, I'm not gonna tell you to vote for Joe Biden or Kamala because they're a part of the like.
Oh yeah, because they're part of the U.S. basically.
Yeah, they're
It's
part
like,
of, or no, because they're still gonna. It was literally just like one. They're gonna support Israel, which
They
like even if
basically
you're
have
against
to.
that. Yeah, even if you're against that,
Yeah.
which is whatever, they're still like everything else about them was better. So to be like,
Yeah.
oh well, or then they said some stupid shit like Palestine speaking now. It's like, well, apparently the Palestinians are about to get fucking nuked from orbit, so like they're not gonna be speaking for much longer because you dipshits were like, just couldn't be bothered to actually vote.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it pisses
Jesus
me off.
Christ.
I remember I think I told you this before. One of like the biggest voices in pro-Palestinian movements. She said she's not happy like with Kamala, but she did tell her supporters to still vote for Kamala.
Yeah, like it's
And
just,
then
all you
and then
do
a
is
lot of her
compute.
followers were pissed at her. I'm
Yeah,
like,
'cause they're-
what is
'cause
Kamala gonna do in this situation?
Yeah, it's because leftists are fucking imbeciles. That's why. It's because they're stupid. That's it.
Yeah, it's frustrating. Did you want to continue watching this one?
Yeah, because we can keep
Okay.
watching it.
Yeah.
He said that as well, this ridiculous statement. The United States is home to almost the same number of Jewish people as Israel. So when Joe Biden says something like that as the President of the United States of America, although he thinks this is servicing the defense of Israel and America's interest in Israel, I see that as a veiled threat, an abdication of his responsibility to American Jewish citizens, our brothers and sisters. Israel is no more a champion of Judaism than ISIS is a champion of Islam. Anti-Zionism is not anti-Semitism. Saudi Arabia's decades-long blockade against Yemen is worthy of criticism. If someone were to consider that Islamophobic to say, everyone would laugh at you. America's unjustifiable and illegal occupation and invasion of Iraq was not done at the behest of Christianity. If someone were to turn around and say, George W. Bush said, God told me to invade Afghanistan and Iraq, that's actually a Christian act, most people would laugh at you. Criticizing that would not be considered being Christian phobic. This is not anti-Christian bigotry. Claiming that a religious and ethno-supremacist apartheid state that is currently engaging in a genocide has anything to do with Judaism is unimaginably anti-Semitic, however.
Huh?
So the slowest genocide in the world. It's been
Yeah.
going on so long, the population's been growing. It's crazy. What a fucking
true.
genocide.
From 700,000 to 5 million.
Yeah,
Wasn't it?
like it's just not. It's not. It's like it's a
it's
completely.
definitionally not a genocide.
Yeah, it's like an
Ethnic
untenable
cleansing,
point.
sure, it is ethnic
Yeah.
cleansing, but it's not a genocide.
Yeah, it's categorically it's not
Yeah.
a genocide, which is an important distinction.
This is precisely why this rhetorical tactic is applied by those
I mean, it's
who
still bad, but-
cynically wish to defend
Yeah,
Israel
no, again,
Obviously.
you
and
can,
those
you
who
can still
seek
say bad, but
to
that
use
doesn't mean
criticisms
you're
of
just
Israel
like,
as a
oh, yeah.
cynical ploy to
Genocide.
traffic in anti-Semitic rhetoric. Anti-Semitism is a canary in the coal mine of fascism. It's one of the oldest bigotries that has caused those of the Jewish faith a tremendous amount of pain. From pogroms to the Holocaust, Jews
You know what? You know one good thing that came out of anti-Semitism? Jews being comedians.
They true, bro. We got Mel Brooks.
Got Mel Brooks. One of my favorites is Gianmarco Soresi. And what was Steve Hofstetter? I like him too.
That was a hell of an
have
opener. I
always
like
been
that. That was
singled out
nice.
by those in power as a scapegoat for instability and economic volatility people in power cause. A resilient, nascent anti-Semitism is a constant threat, especially as economic instability makes those in power seek out old targets. They're not very creative, usually. They just always rehash the same propaganda over and over again. This is precisely the reason why I am terrified of the conflation of anti-Zionism and anti-Semitism. The conflation
Part of
is
the conflation
dangerous.
because he's just an
Valid
anti-Semite.
criticisms against the state, especially as all of the violence is unfolding and everyone can see it, valid criticisms against the state committing these atrocities and tying it back to Judaism is a cynical ploy to stop all matter of conversation is truly terrifying.
You know, as someone who is ethnically Jewish and hearing about this conflict, it's kind of funny to know about like other, well, not that I have many, but I'm sure there's a fair amount of just like ethnic Jews, so non-practicing ones, we'll say, that are like, oh, they're attacking my heritage. It's like, you have nothing to do with this, really, realistically. I mean, that's how I feel about it. Like the conflict is obviously awful, but it's like I'm not involved in it, right?
Right.
I'm just straight up not.
Yeah.
So I think it's just kind of funny that other ethnic Jews might come out and just be in defense of Israel just because.
Yeah, that is dumb.
Yeah.
There is definitely like a
I'm sure
subsection
there's.
of people.
Granted, I don't really know any examples except maybe my mom a little bit. But it's like we have nothing
I don't
to do
even
with
know. I don't even know. That's just for whatever reason. It's
Look.
just like older generations. They just love Israel.
it. I guess so. Yeah. Yeah.
And I think it directly causes anti-Semitism to fester. Perhaps this is why I'm often asked the question, Hassan, why does America have so much loyalty to Israel? And I think there are a lot of people who ask this
Contractual
question because they
obligations.
genuinely want to understand. They don't get it. But then there are some who ask it because they want me to say anti-Semitic things. They want me to say, oh, because Jews
True.
control the media or the government. This is not true. This
Don't
is
worry.
not
Not
the
the Jews,
reality
it's
at all.
just
But the very
AIPAC.
fact that people have that resilient, nascent, unexamined anti-Semitic tendency
I've looked into like
is
Jews
truly
owning the
terrifying,
banks, Jews
especially in this moment.
Hollywood and shit.
because it's
so-
a real question
it's
that
so
can
stupid.
lead people down
Yeah.
the rabbit hole of anti-Semitic conspiracies about Jewish control over the American state and media.
Yeah. See, for example, if they did, why am I not getting a part of that?
Yeah. Why am I broke? Damn
Yeah,
it.
yeah, exactly. Like, please.
Fucked up.
Simply put, Israel is an asset. It is an unsinkable aircraft carrier in a resource-rich region. It is one of the most valuable allies that the United States has for its interests
Yeah,
in the region.
It's at least an ally out of practicality.
At different points in time, Israel
Nah,
has
I
served
mean,
different purposes for the
that's all
United
allies,
States. Its
but yeah.
primary
Yeah,
benefactor. It's been a Cold War ally. It's been a punisher of misbehaving Middle Eastern oil states. It's also been a partner in Western espionage.
More interesting.
This is why I often jokingly state that even if every single American Jew was a card-carrying anti-Zionist overnight, America would still continue to have the exact same Israel
So
policies.
I want to pause this. I don't even what. So
that-
I don't what. Like is the point gonna be like America supports its interests? Like is that it?
Basically.
Is that the complaint that we're
Well,
making right now?
think-
That's
well,
such a worthless fucking complaint.
Well, I think it's like a moral claim that like, oh, America shouldn't support this interest because it would be ethically immoral.
I get. I don't know. He just said the word genocide. I don't know. It would have been cooler if
Yeah.
we had like. I hope whatever. He's only gonna talk for another fucking like 8 minutes. It would have been cooler if he like talked more about that. Hopefully he does, because you can't just
Yeah.
whatever. You can't just be like country does what's in its interest this bad. Like, no, not that's like
Yeah.
probably what a country should do, generally speaking.
Yeah, we don't actually think they're our friends necessarily.
Yeah.
We just have contracts with each other that are beneficial to each
Yeah,
other.
this is a
That's
mutually
all allies,
beneficial
I guess.
arrangement.
That is absolutely the truth, especially when you look at the latest J Street poll that was conducted on American Jews. 70% of them wanted to halt arms transfers to force Israel
just
to commit
business
to a
partners,
ceasefire
yeah.
in Gaza.
Basically.
Either Joe Biden didn't hear that, he didn't see that, or he didn't care. Or maybe this has nothing to do with the wishes of American Jews. After all, there was another study that was conducted leading up to the election.
This is a weird. Wait.
And
Stop.
for Ameri-
It's. I feel like it's weird to say like we are, or like I guess his claim is that we are supporting Israel only to support Jews.
Yeah.
Like, that's our rhetoric. Is that anyone's rhetoric? I don't.
don't
I mean,
think
it's
so.
part of
Well,
it.
I think people on the right will use that rhetoric, because the people on the right are using this as opportunity to call
even
the
that's like
left
a
anti-Semitic, which is stupid.
Yeah, but even that's just like a sub point. Well, okay,
Yeah.
if you chant from the river to the sea, you're anti-Semitic, but whatever. So
mean-
yeah, I think there's a lot of anti-Semites. Look, man, if 27% of the country thinks we should get rid of church and state, okay, and I'm no
Get
longer
rid of
going
the
to sit
separation,
here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm tired of giving people the benefit of the doubt. Okay, I'm tired of this fucking bullshit. Like, if somebody comes up to me and they go from the river to the sea and Palestine will be free, and you're like, from the fucking Jordan, like river
Smack
to
the shit out of
the sea, like that's all of Israel, right? Like Jesus Christ.
American Jews. It was the 9th out of the top 10
Like, it's not
priorities.
morally
Israel
right
was
to
the
ethnically
9th
cleanse an
priority.
area because they're ethnically
Because
cleansing
this
someone else.
trope of dual
Yeah.
loyalty is oftentimes applied by those who are defending Israel who think that they're actually being pro-Jewish, when in fact they're not doing that. It's the exact opposite. But contrary to popular sentiment, anti-Semitism is also not the guiding principle of Palestinian resistance. They are singularly focused on ending.
I mean, it's
a-
true, but then you have
Yeah.
people like the Houthis who are like death to the Israel, death to the Jews, and that's part of their
Yeah,
slogan.
That's like,
If you
yeah.
read Hamas's old treaty from like 2000, it specifically mentioned protocols of the elders of Zion, and then when they updated their new treaty or new charter to get rid of that mention, when like some of the leaders were pressed on it, they were like, oh, we don't. I forget what it was. They basically like refused to condemn the protocols of the elders of Zion. They were just like, oh, it was just a little outdated or something. So it's just like, obviously no. Is it like the guiding, like, is anti-Semitism the like be all end all? Probably not. Is Hamas anti-Semitic? 100%.
At the very least, they're anti-Israel, which functionally means, well,
Yeah.
no, because I'm like, I'm
It's
anti-Netanyahu.
I'm not gonna maintain that Israel is doing an ethnic cleansing, but it might. I don't know. That one I
think-
need to like know more about.
I mean, maybe you can ethnic cleanse in self-defense. I think you can like do self-defense that happens to be an ethnic cleansing.
Because the problem is when we should like really define a term right now, because we're just saying the word ethnic cleansing. Like one element of ethnic cleansing would
Is
be
just
like
removal of-
moving a population.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So then when you talk about like wars that Israel had, and they talk about how they ethnically cleanse Palestinians, I think in people's brains it's like Israel genocided them, which is not true. What happened was like during a war they kicked them out and they didn't let them come back into the land because they had just fought a war where all the Palestinians wanted to kill all the Israelis for
Yeah.
being too close to
And that-
them. And so then it's like you can't. It's like a genuine question. It's like, do you let people back into land when you know that they started a war because they wanted to destroy your entire country? It's like that's a legit
There are people
question.
that make a lot more money than I do that can figure that out.
Yeah, exactly.
But like the initial action of moving them out of the area would be considered an ethnic cleansing.
Yeah.
I would say letting them back in wouldn't not make it an ethnic cleansing, but I don't know.
Yeah. Well, my other thing is I just don't like us saying the word ethnic. I would be like, right now, is Israel participating in an ethnic cleansing, like as state policy? Like, probably. I'm gonna guess not. I mean, I'm down to be like, hear an argument, but I'm gonna be like, probably not. No.
Well, yeah, maybe not as an official policy because people you don't want to be. That's not marketable, right?
Right, but no,
Yeah.
but I mean, like, what would I would need to see like a policy, like what's a legal policy that's ethnic? Like, the settlements are bad, obviously. That'd probably be like the closest you can get to being like there's an ethnic cleansing. I just don't like what they haven't moved into the West Bank and like taken it over and pushed out all the Palestinians or anything, right?
Yeah,
Like,
I
I
mean,
just don't know what
they're-
they would be doing right now. It would be my question.
I mean, they're trying to. I mean, they're trying to warn the Palestinian people as like get out, and the Palestinians obviously aren't leaving, which I understand. Which I totally understand. So they're not. Ethnic cleansing doesn't have to be violent.
No, theoretically. Well, I mean, it kind of. But whatever. Hold on. Yes, I would agree. In theory.
Yeah. Hey, looking
Major
it up.
expansion of settlements into occupied West Bank, because I just don't
okay.
like saying Israel's doing Like I'm gonna take every W that I can, you know. Like I really don't want to have an argument over like the definition of ethnic cleansing, because you would just lose as soon as you say that word. Like, oh well, you know, some
Oh, I see what you're saying.
ethnic cleansing doesn't mean you kill people. Like you could just kick them out of a place.
Yeah.
Like you're still losing because that's still like obviously bad.
Yeah. Exactly.
So my question would be like, is it actually as state policy participating in something that could be considered ethnic cleansing? Like I'm still gonna have to be like, I'm gonna be like, gross, don't do that. But is it like literally ethnic cleansing? Like I don't know. I just don't want to like take. I don't want that semantic L on my side.
well,
It's like,
again, we can be pissed at Israel and Hamas.
Yeah, but justifying ethnic cleansing, you just like.
I didn't.
Like,
Oh well, I'm not
especially-
justifying.
Yeah, but you're just like when you're talking to somebody,
Mm.
right, and they don't know the like UN definition of ethnic cleansing can involve just like displacing people from their
Yeah.
homes, which is like everyone
okay,
agrees
so-
is bad.
Yeah. So you're
But-
saying they might make assumptions that it's a genocide.
Yeah, exactly. Or
Okay.
then if you have to like argue about that,
Yeah.
like it's just easier to come in and be like, it is not an ethnic cleansing, and there's no state policy of ethnic cleansing, and then in instances where like people have been displaced, we should say that's bad. But to say like people would be displaced when you like bomb an area, right? But to say that's like ethnic cleansing would be wrong. So that's I would just want to be like that's why I would need like I need the state policy. That's like we are purposefully displacing this specific ethnic group for the purposes of like
Let me see.
like the removal of this like for the purpose of removing this ethnic group kind of a thing.
Okay, I wonder. Let's see. Cause I'm curious. I mean, obviously, the grand majority is going to be Palestinian,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm curious, like, what. So
What?
Okay, so oh wow, it's definitely the major majority.
Yeah.
Which
So like removing
duh,
all of them would be
which
bad.
duh.
This is why two-state solution best solution. But
Yeah, total state of Palestine is 6 million, whereas, no, I mean, it's like, I mean, there's a lot of people there that aren't Palestinian, obviously. There's like 670,000 or so. Yeah.
I mean in the West Bank area, C and East Jerusalem.
Oh wait, no, that's. Oh wait, no, there's. Oh no, there's almost 800,000 Jews, and a good amount of Israelis as well.
Mm,
Well, there's ethno-religious group and by nationality.
yeah.
Okay, this is a significant amount of Israelis there.
I would need to look up more about like West Bank area C, and then East Jerusalem
Yeah.
makes sense because that's like split down the
Yeah.
middle between
Yeah.
Palestine and Israel, and so that whole place is gonna be fucking weird.
Yep. Well, anyway.
76-year-old colonial occupation. The standard of violence is always set by the colonial entity. The maintenance of apartheid is
Bro,
an
rape is the
unimaginably
language of the
bloody
oppressed,
affair.
bro.
Checkpoints, separate roads, indefinite military detention of Palestinian children, refusal of permits to build water wells, wholesale destruction of villages, letting rabid right-wing settlers operate like the Klan in the occupied West Bank, and offering military protection to their campaigns of ethnic displacement are all parts of the
I
often
act like
invisible.
the Klan. I just don't. I'm reaching out into the Viboverse and being like, I doubt Israelis are literally lynching Palestinians in the street. That feels like not what's happening.
I mean, I hope they're not.
I'm
obviously, but-
gonna just hazard a guess that if I look up Israelis lynching Palestinians, it's not happening.
I mean, I know Palestinians can be pretty violent towards Israelis that come into Palestine, from
Which-
what I understand.
You know what? Understandable.
Yeah.
Makes sense. I'm not mad at that.
Yeah.
Unless they're just there peacefully, and my brain, I'm just assuming it's a settler, in which case, understandable.
Yeah.
Violence that plays a role in the daily existence of Palestinians. But because it's systematized, we do not have that same attitude towards this kind of violence because it's state policy. It's not a non-state actor conducting these affairs. So we read it very differently. Almost a century of domination, land grabs, and ritualistic humiliation of an indigenous population is always going to be violent. And the retaliation to that violence will always increase as the captive population becomes more desperate. The notion that Palestinians are not simply seeking an end.
What's up?
I just hate this argument because it's basically just like gives carte blanche for anyone who's like the oppressed group to do literally whatever they want. So it's just like that's why you have he's like a
Anarchy.
Yeah, no, he'll just be a dumbass and he'll be like, oh yeah, like no rapes happened on October 7th, or there's not enough evidence. And even if there is, like, really the actual thrust is that he just doesn't want to have to like defend the fact that rapes happened on October 7th because in his like stupid ass worldview of like oppressor versus oppressed shit, you're basically just like the oppressed can do like whatever they want, including just like constantly throw missiles into Israel over and over and over again, which is
Not
like
great.
no, that's why people like it's crazy. It's like the most mind-boggling thing. Israel has the Iron Dome because they're getting bombed so much, but then the Iron Dome got so fucking good because they kept getting bombed. And now when Israel like shoots somebody to make them stop bombing them, people get like, wow, Israel, I can't believe you did that. That's fucked up, bro. It's like, bro, just because you have the best defense doesn't mean you let people keep bombing you. That's not how this works.
End the occupation, but instead operating with an ancient desire of anti-Semitism might be a comfortable narrative that feeds into people's cognitive dissonance. But there are plenty of former Israeli leaders who disagree with you. And I want to give you some quotes.
Oh
From
my God,
Ami
this whole
Ayalon.
speech has just been quote
He's the
jumping.
former head
It's
of
been a lot of
the
quotes.
Israeli intelligence agency.
I've actually been
Shin
like
Bet.
trying to pay attention
Not
to
exactly
how good
the
he
guy
is at
who's,
actually delivering a
card-carrying,
speech. He's
woke, college campus, pro-Palestinian encampment guy.
It's fine. He's just a rant guy.
He
That's
famously
fine.
Yeah.
declared to ABC
He
that if
reads
he
a
were
lot off this
Palestinian,
thing.
he would fight against Israel and would do everything to achieve liberty. Now, his words are not uncommon amongst many of Israel's former leaders. Ehud Barak said something similar as well. But the first Prime Minister of Israel, David Ben-Gurion, also understood the need for Palestinian resistance despite his dedication to destroying it. He stated, "If I was an Arab leader, I would never make terms with Israel. That is natural. We have taken their country. Sure, God promised it to us, but what does that matter to them? Our God is not theirs. We come from Israel, it's true, but that was 2,000 years ago. And what is that to them? There has been anti-Semitism, the Nazis, Hitler, Auschwitz. But was that their fault?
It's just that the Nazis
They only
3
see one
times.
thing. We have come and stolen their country. Why should they accept that? We do not judge the violence that unfolds in retaliation to the systematic enforcement of brutal practices, whether it
we
be
do, though.
slavery
We
or
actually
apartheid
do.
in any
Like,
other
you
context.
can't rape people because you're being oppressed. That's not how that works.
Yeah.
The Nat Turner Rebellion,
Yeah.
the Haitian Revolution, the violence that unfolded in the liberation of Algeria, the militancy of the ANC. These are all very violent endeavors, but they can never match up to the structural and standardized violence which exists in the maintenance of chattel slavery, in the maintenance of colonialism, and in the maintenance of apartheid. So if you were to tell me that the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising was inappropriate or too violent, I
Oh
would
my
laugh at
God.
you.
He's comparing it to that. Are you
Yes,
kidding
he
me?
does this every single fucking time. Every time he brings up Israel. And it's like disgusting. It's like, look,
Yeah,
man,
I
if
don't
in the
like that.
Warsaw Ghetto they just started raping everybody, like, yeah, that's fucked up. Like, and in the Warsaw Ghetto, they were fighting Nazi soldiers. In like the fucking
This-
violence that happened on October 7th was against non-military targets. There's videos of people like specifically shooting porta potties in the hopes that people are hiding in them, civilians. Like, it's not comparable at all.
It's that actually pisses me off, to be honest.
Yeah, it's fucking disgusting.
Yeah.
That would be an insane thing to say.
He's just like conflating almost all revolutions are obviously good.
100%, yes.
It's like-
he's conflating all revolutions he
Otherwise-
approves of and
Yeah.
mixing them all together into a big pot.
So, in the face of countless atrocities that have unfolded over this past year, child mutilation.
Actually, he should be entirely against some revolutions if he is communist, because of all of the like CIA backed ones and shit. So it's
Yeah,
like,
he's against those ones, but he's
yeah.
just like he's pro anything that's anti-West. That's like always
Yeah.
your framework. That you gotta like
Yeah.
what if it's anti-West, it's okay. Like October 7th was fine because it was destroying Western powers. That's why. That's it.
Drone copters
Has he
sniping
said
children.
October 7th
drone
was fine?
copters playing the
No,
sounds
but,
of
like-
wailing children.
I mean, he's
You
basically
don't
trying to
compare-
justify
You
it.
don't
too.
compare
Lure out
October 7th to the
unsuspecting
Warsaw
Palestinian
Ghetto
civilians
Uprising
against
Yeah, of
unless
course.
you're trying
murdering
to say it's a good thing.
Yeah.
bombing virtually every aspect of civil life in Gaza, the world's largest open-air prison. I think it's time that we have to have an honest conversation about Israel, because there are a lot of intelligent people in here, and if we don't have an honest conversation, we're never going to be able to solve this problem.
It's the guy who just compared October 7th to the Warsaw
song.
Ghetto Uprising.
Oh my god.
Oh my fucking god. Amazing.
Is it me or does she have a lot of makeup on? She's very shiny.
I don't know, bro.
Yeah.
This is especially
Maybe
a
it's just hot in there.
volatile time as well, because right now we are facing a crisis of fascism in the Western world. These nascent movements are growing all across Western liberal democracies. You have the Reform Party here in the UK.
I just want to make it clear
have
that the
Donald
person who's
Trump.
complaining about this supports re-education camps. Just so that way you
It's
understand.
okay if it's his beliefs.
Yeah, exactly. Because he believes in a dictatorship of the proletariat. Like in his worldview, there is a dictatorship that occurs. Like fucking waste of
in the
everyone's
United
time.
States
Like,
of
listen to that.
America, who is
At least from this person.
significantly more violent in both his rhetoric and much more vindictive than the first time around. You have the AfD in Germany. You have Meloni in Italy, Geert Wilders in the Netherlands, and so on and so forth. So in this time, we need to make sure that we can restore confidence in legacy publishers and in mainstream media.
You know the nice thing about the European countries he just listed, though?
What?
They're not breaking down their legal system.
That's true. At least as far as I know, yes.
Yeah.
They're not currently raping their constitution, at least trying to rape the Constitution. Yeah.
And yet, they have time and time again dropped the ball. A lot of people, especially in the democratization of media, especially with inventions like TikTok and social media,
Thank you.
can personally see exactly what's going on in places like Gaza in a way that they never were able to do so before. And when you see
Sup,
something
coffee?
that's going on,
Coffee.
and the immediate contextualization offered by oftentimes an
Yeah,
IDF guy
I saw that
on
comment.
CNN
Seffi gave me
does
two
not
earlier.
match with that reality of child mutilation, baby murder, things of that nature. You start losing
my water
faith
jug.
in these mainstream institutions. And I'm truly terrified of what is to come if we don't fix this problem. And it's
I
on all
also,
of us
like,
to play a
pause.
role.
Like, imagine being so fucking stupid that you're like, thank God TikTok is giving the people an honest look at the situation. Like, imagine being so mind-numbingly stupid that a thing that's designed to, like, rage bait and clip bait you and not give you the full context because each TikTok's, like, at most a minute long, and you're like, thank God we have this resource to educate the youth.
Yeah, it's mostly, yeah, like I get what he's trying to say with it, but like in reality, it's not that great.
No,
you
it's
should-
not. It's fucking terrible. Like,
yeah.
Andrew Tate's, like, TikTok's one of the reasons Andrew Tate got big. Like, it's just not even...
Yeah. What was I gonna say? I was gonna say something, but it's gone. Whatever.
In speaking the truth. So I urge all of you to not give in to pessimism, to not give in to your nihilistic tendency.
Actually, no. I just remembered. So, and this goes on like a different topic, but it's like with TikTok, we still don't have good like footage of UFOs. It's all still garbage. It's really the proof that aliens have not come to the Earth. Like, Fuck.
Exactly.
in season
There-
think,
that's
well,
the one
we've
benefit
done
that
our
TikTok's done.
encampments,
It's disproven
and the
Bigfoot
schools
and,
did not
aliens.
respond positively. They're still giving
all
money
these
to
people, we
Elbit
still-
systems or
Still
whatever.
nothing.
I urge you not to succumb
Ghosts.
to nihilism, because there are many other crises out there, especially including the crisis that the Palestinian people face every day. And the truth matters, and your voice matters. So continue to keep up the pressure, because there are decades where nothing happens,
That's the
and there are weeks.
Oh, he just quoted
Free
Lenin.
pal.
Oh, kill
Decades where
him.
nothing happens. For sure. Because there are decades where nothing happens, and there are weeks where decades happen. Free Palestine.
It's a Lenin quote.
Is that a Lenin quote? Oh,
Yes,
no.
Lenin quote.
So he would be. So he's probably Marxist-Leninist.
He's a Marxist. I can show you
So
the
accelerationist.
fucking podcast where he's on Marxist Leninist. It's called he's on it. It's with Vadim and some other like Eastern European guy whose name I don't know, and then Second Thought. Fuck, I can go find it. But he's been on their podcast like 2 or 3 times, and every single time he's on it, he's like, "Yeah, you just gotta like." Basically, what I do is I'm like the front man who says, you know, like social democrat and stuff, but then I kind of get them on the pipeline to you guys, and then turn them into real radicals.
Yeah, that is the thing.
Yeah, exactly. Because these people are fucking evil.
Yeah, like I don't. Like theoretically, I don't mind democratic socialism, but I don't. I'm not 100% sure how it would look.
The deprogram.
Anyway,
Deprogram Hassan. Yeah. So
this one I'm.
he's been on.
Also
How many has he been on? He's been on 2. Yeah, he's been on like 2 or 3. Anyway, but yeah, on there you go. On episode 74. I don't know if we care enough. Like, it's just a podcast. We don't need to sit through the whole thing. But on episode 74 with Hassan in it, Hassan literally just says, he's like, yeah, I'm just trying to get people to like funnel into your guys' worldview. And like Vadim, one of the like he's got like his rant sona is like Lenin. Like that's his rant sona on YouTube.
His rant.
And he's like he's like a Holodomor denier. Like
That's the Holodomor. Yeah, that's bad. That's bad.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, fucking evil. Like, you get it in your brain, dude.
Like-
People want to kill you.
Like I'm pretty sure at least I really hope most leftists realize that the Holodomor did happen, regardless of the other circumstances surrounding it.
Yeah, but they're gonna like cope and say like, oh, it wasn't Lenin. You know, it's the same shit with like Holocaust denial. They'll be like, show me the letter where Hitler said kill all the Jews, and they'll be like, well, show me the order where Stalin said kill all the Ukrainians or whatever, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Even though it's like, oh, okay, so he just deprived them of their food by taking all of it, and then didn't send any more food in, and then anyone who saved food for themselves, they were executed. And then he was made aware that this was happening, and there was literally reports of Ukrainians eating their own children, which did happen. But
Fuck.
he just, you know, it was a whoopsies, guys. It was a mistake. It was a whoopsie doopsies. Like, fuck those, bro. Fuck those people. Honestly, like you're disgusting. Like just because you don't want to kill the Jews doesn't, like I said, just do the fucking math on like killing 1% of the population of the planet. Like,
Yeah. It would be. It would
then
be,
you know how much these people want to kill. Hold on, I'm gonna get my water.
Yeah. How's work going? Coffee, or did you just like come in and say hello and bail? Are you sharing with your coworkers? Between you and Squid, I get to listen in on multiple topics. At this point, I'm just like hosting you two. Just like let you go. All right.
I have a lot to say. People are gross, you know. People are disgusting.
All right. All right. We'll begin this one.
Hold on, I have like a giant like gallon jug, so I'm waiting for it to fill up.
Oh,
but-
all right.
we can still chat a little bit while it fills up, and I just
Yeah.
talk about like that's I was
Like-
saying that's important. Like that's just I constantly remind myself of that. Like whenever I'm talking or like watching a Marxist Leninist or a communist, like I've told you this before, where I'm like, oh, this person would kill me. Like I always need to remember that.
Mm-hmm.
You should always remember that they would kill you and that they deny genocide and that.
I'd probably
And, like-
fine. If anything.
Would you be? I don't
Um,
know.
I mean, probably. I'll just tell them I'm Jewish, and they'll be like, "Oh, okay, you're oppressed," or something. Whereas if it's the other side, then I'll be like, "I'm white, so obviously I'm being oppressed."
No, you're a revision. You're like a reformist.
What?
You're a reformist because you still support capitalism and you think it can be reformed, and reformers should be shot. So,
Look,
sorry, bro.
all I've said is I'm a progressive, if anything.
I know, which is worse than a liberal, because at least a liberal knows that they're evil. You don't even know that you're fucking evil, bro. You're in bed with the liberals thinking that
I think.
politics can be reformed.
Well, I mean, progressivism is pretty strictly social.
No,
So
it's
true.
economic as well.
Is it?
Yeah, because you support progressive welfare programs, I would assume.
Oh, sure, yeah.
I mean, otherwise, technically, I'm a fucking progressive.
Well,
Then if it's only
I mean,
social.
you could be a progressive liberal.
I get maybe. I guess I don't know. I would.
I'm pretty
just
sure you
refer-
can
like,
be.
I say like
liberal
neoliberal because it's like economically, I'm like a big globalist, and like foreign policy wise, I'm like I want the U.S. to could rule the planet and all that shit.
Jesus Christ.
Jokingly, but Donald Trump is white man's Obama.
White man's Obama.
Based.
So
I don't know
just
what that
raise your
means,
hand
but
and I'll
okay.
pick up.
I'm just trying to.
Piece it together. It's all right. We're gonna
Yeah.
hit. That
Yeah,
was the
I'm
hook
just-
us. They hooked us,
yeah.
bro. We got hooked.
Daniel,
They
the
succeeded.
member of the front.
Good job.
right
Good
there.
job, Oxford Union.
Hassan, first of all, congratulations on Thanksgiving this year. It was much better than last.
He said, "Congratulations on Thanksgiving this year. Much better than last year."
Now, Hassan, probably very evident that I agree
You know
with
his uncle's
99.9%.
Cenk Uygur,
So
the
my
guy who
question is
runs
going to
the-
be within the left, right?
Super like progressive podcast. The
Yeah, I
Young
did that.
Turks.
I did not
Yeah.
know that.
Yep, that's his uncle. That's how he got to start. He got to start working for his uncle, and he made some shitty cringe shit. And then he worked with Destiny, and now it became a huge thing. I also like that the Young Turks was named after a paramilitary group that helped commit a genocide. Very funny. Genocide now runs in the family. Based.
There seems to be an emerging debate of which your uncle is on the other side of the aisle, and I'm on your side, by the way, that there is a fundamental challenge that comes with the left coalition. Bhaskar Sankar wrote an article in Vox about left being in purgatory. It appears to me so, and it's an honest criticism to you and all the other leftist streamers, Kyle Kulinski and everybody else. You guys talk about working class politics, but you guys don't look, walk, or sit and, be with the working class.
True.
Damn.
It's okay. Just go read Mark Fisher's Capitalist Realism, which is just a Marxist being sad that they lost, and then you can just be like, well, I support Marxism, but capitalism just won, so I'm gonna go spend $1 million on a Porsche and wear a fucking $10,000 outfit to the Streamer Awards.
True. Like for me, I'm like comfortable. It's like I was born into capitalism. I'm required to participate in capitalism. So
I mean, but you can't be like capitalism bad
sure, yeah.
and then buy a $10,000 outfit, or like you can, but you like the hypocrisy is just glaringly obvious.
Yeah, yeah.
Bro, especially.
Well, maybe he didn't.
like,
Maybe he got it ordered from a different country.
Oh yeah, sure. That's
But
what
all
it was.
those
The
companies.
fucking-
But all those countries are
Catholic-
capitalist.
Yeah, another capitalist country.
Yeah.
No, here's the problem is that it's even more disgusting when you read Marx's theory, like how transparently just how like transparent Hassan's like hypocrisy is. Like Karl Marx has a whole fucking section about like object fetishization and like placing undue value on things that like don't actually have any value, and how this is like psychologically damaging to the soul. And that, like, bro, you're wearing a $5,000 outfit. You are literally the
Marx.
definition of object fetishization. Like it's
Marx would hate
You
video
think-
games. Marx would hate video games.
I get, yeah, at least
I
that
don't
has a
know.
use value.
That's
Because
true,
basically he
that's
would be
true.
like, if you love something that has like no use value
Oh, yeah, I mean, it would
and like
be use
no
value, yeah.
and like no societal value outside of like outside of like flexing wealth, he would be like, this is irrational and contributes to like the contradictions within capitalism.
So kind of like instead of getting like a $100 white T-shirt, just go to Walmart and pick up like a 5-pack of
yeah, exactly.
shittier
Just
ones,
think about
yeah.
like the use and the societal value.
Yeah.
But but then he wears a fucking like, I bet the outfit he's wearing is at least like $5K. Like, it just doesn't. You can't both be like, unironically, you can't both be a Marxist and then also consume luxury goods. Like, luxury goods are like almost by their very nature like fetishized objects. You can't you can't have it both ways.
Like I obviously it's like fine to indulge in some luxuries, like video games, for example. Like I think that's fine.
Yeah.
Obviously,
I wanna
well, that
make-
has use, as you said.
Yeah, I want to make it clear. I would love to live Hassan's lifestyle, but that would be acceptable in my moral framework. The problem
Yeah,
is
yeah,
that
exactly. It's
in
true.
his own moral framework, it doesn't make any fucking sense.
That's an important hurdle, I feel, in not only making sure that you're advocating for those people, but also giving them the trust that you are their man and you will be fighting for them. One of the reasons that Joe Biden won the Midwest was because he could present that Scranton Joe figure.
Did Hassan ever do any just like menial work jobs or anything? Do you know?
Nope.
He didn't, or you don't know?
He came from a super rich family. No, I know. Came from like a pretty wealthy family. He went to like a Florida party school. Apparently he did like really bad, which is whatever, bro. You know.
Yeah, sure.
I haven't been so hot educational wise, multiple times in my life. And then they like instantly transferred him to some East Coast school, and then he got his degree. He either had a double majored in communications and political science, or he got like a major in communications and then a minor in political science, or vice versa. Some combination of that shit, which is hilarious because he's terrible at communicating. But then he like wanted to get into politics, so he moved out to California to hang out with his uncle Cenk, and he was like a reporter there, and he did like the Young Turks had like a weird college channel for a little while that had kind of like dude bro, like college dude humor. Like Hassan has some like cringe old video clips about him telling people how to pick up girls and shit like that. And then he met up with Destiny because Destiny was like popping off as like a big leftist streamer. This is back when Twitch was like just starting. This was like
Okay, yeah, that's a long
way
time
back
ago,
in the
yeah.
day, right? Like we're like like 10 years ago or something.
Yeah.
He starts hanging out with Destiny and streaming with him, and then they become friends, and this like really helps boost Hassan, because Hassan was kind of this like cool, like social democrat guy, because he hadn't like gone full as far as I know, he hadn't gone like full mask off like on a podcast just talking about being a fucking Marxist.
So was Destiny a leftist?
No, well, Destiny's always been like a liberal.
Yeah.
Or like a progressive.
Yeah.
He's basically been like, the thing that's always stopped him is he's always supported capitalism, basically. That's like the one thing. It's a pretty big thing. Supporting capitalism kind of keeps you out from that camp. He had to have like a massive purge. He's had like a couple purges of his audience where he's like, y'all need to remember, like, I'm a capitalist and I'm not a socialist. And that's like one of the things. There's like a couple things that like caused wedges between Destiny and Hassan. There's like a 3-hour documentary called The N-Word Saga, where it's just Destiny debating the use of the N-word. And that was the official end split. That's like what really killed it. But before that, they had problems because Hassan was like a socialist guy. And then Destiny was like not that at all.
Was Destiny trying to say we should be allowed to use the N-word?
Yeah, he was like in private. He was chill with it. So, which is like, whatever. We can have an N-word debate at some other time if you want, but because I'm on Team Destiny with that one. Yeah. So anyway, but that was like a whole thing.
Yeah.
How do you perceive that challenge, and how to sort of also deal with this sudden?
Hold on, I'm getting a phone call. I'll continue the video.
turn among the
Marxist.
leftists that we're going to put the trans people and the gay people under the bus. Balancing act, Hassan. How are you going to do that?
You're still
Great
unmuted.
question. So, I think that the way that the Democratic Party has done this is awful for the most part. I think we all agree on that, or at least, I mean, it was a demonstrable failure. The way they've presented this in the past is, you know, we're going to defend trans people, so you might as well vote for us and make a compelling harm reduction argument, which has been a demonstrable failure time and time again. That, like, we are better than the Republicans and will protect you, but we're not going to make any. We're not even going to say we're going to protect you. And apparently, now they're not even interested in protecting trans people at all. They want to be the transphobic party on top of everything else. I think this is a failure.
Wait,
What?
what did you say?
No, he's accusing the Democratic Party of being the transphobic party now. Fuck.
I mean, there are some transphobic Democrats, but like,
There's some pro-trans fucking Republicans. Like, Jesus
yeah.
Christ.
So I don't.
I think the real way to combat this is not to succumb to wedge issues that the Republicans are routinely using as a distraction. Because the reality of the matter is, they don't want to have the tough conversations. They don't want to have an argument against someone who says, we need to build social housing, we need to build public housing, we need to claw back the housing market from these speculators. The people
my
that treat
God,
it
he's
like
so
as a simple
stupid.
asset. And
Fuck. Oh, he's a BlackRock idiot. Jesus Christ. Even if, like, so, okay, I don't know. This is like a... He's talking about this concept that, like, BlackRock and, like, private equity people are buying up the housing market. And this is, like, wrong. I looked it up once, and it was like, if you... And this is, like, one random statistic. And it was like, if you account for all of private equity, so all investment companies, like, in the world, they make up maybe 20% of the housing market, which is still a lot.
That's
But to
still
say
a
that
fuck
it-
ton, yeah.
Yeah, but even so, you have to remember, like, this includes shit like apartments. Like, it's not just fucking houses.
Well,
It's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
No shit, private equity is going to own, like, a fuck ton of apartments. Like, who cares? The real problem with housing is the NIMBYs. Like, that's the real fucking problem, is you have all these local people who, like, keep constantly voting. Well, and also, like, you could also say, like, red tape shit, but I don't know enough about that. But, you like, I know for a fact, it's, like, one of the main issues.
getting another
You
phone
basically
call.
just need to, like, oh my God, bro.
Sorry.
He has to stop me mid-rant? This is fucked up. I'm gonna shoot myself in the head on stream. That was a joke. Don't ban me. Oh, he's gone. How's it going, everybody? Your house on still. Oh my God, you're saying a lot of words. Say they should give it back. Your house stolen land. You ain't talking about that. March Street's posting facts on the on the gram, but the under your feet got blood in the sand. History deep.
Sorry about
So
that.
deep.
So,
bro.
what's up? What's up?
I don't know. Oh, I was gonna yell about the housing market. And
Oh,
this guy
Jesus
just
Christ.
Palestine thing. But I was just saying that the housing market. The problem is there's like a fundamental failure in like letting people vote on like whether or not housing should be allowed to be built. Like this is just it's just fucking up the entire like younger generation, which like makes sense because you basically like if they build a bunch of apartments next to your nice house, it's gonna like lower the property value because now there's an annoying ass apartment complex next to you. So this is like not lost on me, like why they're doing this. But at the same time, it's just kind of like I don't know, bro. Like get fucked. People need houses. Like so. Anyway, I'm pissed that he's basically trying to be like, yeah, it's BlackRock or some kind of like private equity.
I mean, there's a lot of issues with it. Oh.
No, there's a lot, but to say like, oh yeah, bro, it's the billionaires. It's all the billionaires. The billionaires, they're just billionaire and everywhere. It's like, I mean, maybe a little, but like, the idea that if we just like stop letting private equity like invest in housing is in any way going to like increase the amount of houses that we have is just wrong. And like, I don't even think it makes sense. Like, private equity would want to build more houses.
Yeah,
Like,
well,
they want to build more apartments.
Well, the thing is they're all like luxury apartments at the very least around here. So a lot of people are still priced out of them. That's like one of the big things.
Right, but there's private equity for like lower income shit too. Like as long as people want to buy houses,
Not
people will
much.
make it. Right, but one of the problems is fucking NIMBYs because NIMBYs don't want
Yeah.
poor people in.
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
That's why, like, not to be a Houston dick suck or whatever, but it's like one of the things about Houston is that there's just like so few like there are zoning laws. Obviously, you can't just build like a fucking,
yeah.
you can't just build like a power plant wherever you want or whatever. But it's just like people need an apartment complex. Fuck it, bro. Just build an apartment complex. Like that's it. They just do it. Like the NIMBYs just get fucked.
Let's see. Do you see the restricted chat in Twitch?
Yeah, I'm just ignoring it.
Yeah.
I read it. Whatever. If he wants to talk about more shit, he can talk about it. If not, whatever.
Yeah, it's saying it's not published. Did you not allow it? Or,
Oh, I'm down to just let it go. I don't care.
yeah, it's not. I'm not seeing the option to let it through.
Whatever. I was gonna just leave it. Just continue the video. I think it's
Okay,
fine.
yeah.
I don't really care.
Not
You can throw
shelter
fucking
that
Palestine
you
raps in
need
all you
for
want.
survival. When the Democratic Party makes a convincing argument on that front, now the Republicans have to present themselves against that in an effort to defend their corporate oligarchs, their corporate benefactors. And because of the unfortunate reality that the Democratic Party is also captive to the same corporate interests, they refuse to make that argument. And in that process, when they don't have anything, we don't have any red meat for the Republicans to grab.
What's that even?
Well, I think
literally
he's
was
talking
just
about
like the billionaire, the Democratic Party. If we could just talk about what matters, it would be fine. Because the Republicans, they're owned by the billionaires, but the Democrats they're also owned by the billionaires.
Yep.
So the billionaires are stopping us from building the houses, and then we can't have real economic conversations. Even though it's like on the fucking campaign trail, the Democrats will like constantly be talking about economic policies that are like probably anti-billionaire, like increasing the taxes on the wealthy, or like increasing like giving out vouchers for families, like tax reductions, or like other like tax reductions for low-income housing or people with families, like whatever. Sorry, it's the billionaires.
You're good.
Onto and attack and try to position themselves as being against, especially popular policies such as Medicare for all, then
that's
the
awesome.
Republicans dominate the field. And culture war issues and wedge issues are their bread and butter. So I think it's a twofold problem. Obviously, you should be uncompromising in defending all marginalized communities. But having said that, the best possible way to do that is by pushing for universal programs that affect the lives of every single American unconditionally. This way, you broaden your coalition, and also simultaneously put forth
pause.
policies that
Theoretically, yeah, that's good, right? Like we want
Yeah,
to push for
yeah.
universal, but it's like one, you have like policies have to be realistic. You can't just be like,
Well,
can't-
I'm assuming he doesn't have a way to do it.
no, he doesn't, right?
Yeah.
Which is kind of my point.
Well, sure, but I
You're
don't.
just-
I also don't really expect him to. I guess.
What? He talks
Oh,
about
he-
politics for 8 hours every
That's
day. This
true, 8
motherfucker
hours.
should have some goddamn solutions. Besides just being like the billionaires, universal everything. Like, what the fuck am I supposed to do with this information?
The billionaires.
And even like,
okay, yeah.
and even like one of the reasons I got angry when he said like Medicare for all, and I slammed my hand, is because when you say like give everybody, do you want everyone to have health care? It's like, yeah, it's like 70 or something % of Americans are like, yes, everyone should have health care. But then when you look at like the plans, it's like, oh well, we're gonna get rid of like your private health care and make it all government. Then it's down to like 20%. Like it's like it flips. It does like a 180 the moment you start actually listing out like the policy as opposed to just saying healthcare for all. So even that statement is like it's just wrong. It's fucking wrong.
Fair enough. Basically, he doesn't typically go into the nuances of what he says.
No, he's stupid. He's Marxist.
will put the
that goes without
Republican
saying.
Party at odds with its base. And you need to be able to do that in an earnest way as well. So there's a long way to go for the Democrats, who unfortunately have destroyed any sort of goodwill that they could have had. They come across as technocratic elitists that are ideologically minded and invested in third-way neoliberalism unconditionally.
You can't be like, bro, they're out of touch, ideologically possessed elites while being a Marxist in a $10,000 suit. Like, you can't say that.
And it's going to, you're going to need great communicators who are real fighters, who are really invested in improving the material conditions of all American workers.
Next hand. The person in the very back with the plaid shirt. Yes, you.
So in your speech, you raise sensible and legitimate concerns about Israel and its practices and how it has conducted the war, etc. I think you're somewhat vaguer on the solution. You implied, quote unquote, the dismantlement of the Zionist project. Could you get in a bit more of the specifics of what that would look like?
Basically what you were talking about, but
I
mean, a limited amount of time, so I understand not going into the details on the speech, I guess.
Of course. Great question. So I am a firm and committed believer in a singular, solitary, secular state.
Awesome. So he has no solution.
Somewhat
Thank you.
controversial for a lot of people because
it's stupid
I
as
think
fuck.
For so many years at this point, for the past couple of decades, it's always been the two-state project, and that is like the most likely, most realistic outcome. But I agree with Avi Shlaim, Israeli Iraqi historian Avi Shlaim, who also went on his own intellectual journey of moving away from the two-state solution to a singular state because of what the two-state solution represents. I call it the so-called peace process. Peace process for a reason, because that
This isn't answering the question.
was very cynically used by the
he
Israeli
just said, "I
government
support the
to,
one state," and then he has
really
nothing else of value.
explode the settler expansion in the West
Like,
Bank
he's not gonna,
to
like,
create Bantustans.
It just doesn't
these,
make
tiny
sense.
micro
Like, we're gonna have,
Palestinian villages
you've
that
told
they,
Palestinians that
that
they're
they
being
cut
genocided by
across
Israelis their entire
deliberately.
life, and now you're just gonna be like, no,
that's
bro,
what the
one
two-state
state. But of
project
course, his
looks
one
like.
state
And I
is you
think
destroy Israel.
At
So
this point,
Yeah, well, he also called it secular, right? And we know that's not gonna happen.
yeah, no, that would
There's no-
fucking
that would
never
that would
happen.
that would cause like a fucking
Bro, he literally wants. He's
Another
like,
war?
yeah, bro, just make a socialist dictatorship of the proletariat in a single state where religion is outlawed in this highly religious area.
and then you ask him, it's like, oh well, how would you fix Western Europe? Oh, a single state secular.
Yeah, like what the
There's a-
literally somebody like asked him for what's like a practical solution, and he just said like the most impractical solution you could have possibly said. Like, holy shit.
it's become a single state already, that Israel is the sovereign state of this entire territory, and it is an apartheid state. So I hope that with enough pressure, and it is already happening, things are changing in a way that I never thought I would see in my lifetime, where people will continue to engage with boycott, divestments, and sanctions, and make it impossible for Israel to maintain an apartheid state, and it will inevitably dissolve in the same way that the South African process happened.
The member at the very front in the black coat.
Didn't answer.
No, yeah, the process is literally just like historical materialism. And that was it.
I'm
He's like,
actually from
history.
UCLA, and I think you donated some pizzas to our encampment in the spring, so we really appreciate that. My question is on a topic Sarah brought up earlier, which is the reality of this really widening gender political gap among young people, especially like in online spaces. The radicalizing of young boys is a really intense threat. So I was wondering if you had any thoughts on how we can culturally course correct and
There are a
adjust
lot
that
of
issue
young,
in the
dumb
future.
Republicans.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is a real problem. It is becoming worse and worse, I think. And it is, I mean, it's the same as enmity towards any other marginalized group, that like gender wars has become like the very common way that people find themselves in the throes of reactionary ideals. And I don't necessarily think it's just
What?
the manosphere.
What did he say there?
Uh,
It's maybe I just wasn't following, but that kind of just sounded like nothing.
yeah, because it isn't. It's nothing. He
Okay,
just said
alright.
reactionary ideals because that's like a
Yeah, it's
Marxist
like-
thing to say, where you're just a reactionary against the. Basically, he would be like, it's a reaction against like feminism.
Yeah.
I
mean, that-
and right wing spaces.
I mean, that might be true, but like,
Right. So what's this? But what do we do with this information?
yeah, it's like,
Yeah,
alright.
nothing. The answer is he's not.
or
He's
the
not giving a solution.
content that
Yeah.
is making people this way. I think
Well, let's see.
ultimately I'm a firm believer that if you solve a lot of the material problems, that you will be able to make it much easier to tackle some of this nascent reactionary sentiment.
So going on down the line of like Marxist Leninism, everyone has like base materials they need, and that would supposedly
That would solve sexism. The men who are lonely, once you give them a house for free to be lonely in, they will stop hitting women. Just, you got this, buddy boy.
It's like, congrats, now you can live in a place and still be lonely.
And still be lonely and
Yeah.
watch Andrew Tate and hate women. It would be
A
awesome.
lot of young men are vulnerable. They're getting worse and worse educational outcomes, and as a consequence,
The way we fix this is to fix everything.
Yeah, bro, you hit exactly right.
And it's
That's
like,
what he
well-
says
well,
every fucking
no
time.
Shit, basically.
Yeah.
that
Like he
they're
does,
getting worse.
like really the question, the way he should have answered this question is like, Hassan, he should have been like, I as a content creator am trying to tailor my content like more towards like white male demographic, just because like this demographic is clearly like going off the rails. And then we as like a society, we need to like listen to them and try to like understand why they're feeling this way, and like that, and then from that's like step one, and then once we hear them out, we then form the solution, because we have to assume like we know Andrew Tate is wrong, like he's
Yeah.
incorrect.
Yeah.
So clearly, like we need to find some kind of like underlying issue that is generating like this draw to these like incorrect ideas, and then he's just gonna be like, oh well, it's the material conditions. It's like, I mean, maybe it's an aspect of it.
Yeah,
but
sure.
it's
Like
I
that
don't-
might help, but
Yeah, I just don't like what material conditions are like making like guys not make friends. Like I don't like how that just doesn't seem like a capitalism thing. You can be like, oh, it's the
Yeah.
neoliberal emphasis on individualism. It's like, okay, well, we had a neoliberal emphasis on individualism since like the end of World War II. Okay, and people were like not lonely back then. It's like it's basically like the internet happened. That's what happened. The internet happened,
Yep.
and it made everyone
Yeah.
stupid. Like
Yeah.
so you can keep telling me it's all this other shit, even though it clearly isn't.
despite the fact that
So-
we're more connected than ever before, we're also more lonely than we've ever been.
Yeah, exactly. So it's all. He has like no real. Yeah, he has no real solutions.
Yeah.
Job outcomes. They're
Like you, like I think this would make sense if you were talking about like crime rate,
Yeah.
providing everyone the necessary living conditions. That would probably be directly result in a lower crime rate, but we're not talking about that.
Yeah.
So it's like,
no longer seeing upward social mobility as a reality.
you know what solves? It's like, you
and
know what
they have
solves
the exact
all these
same,
problems? A fucking meteor.
social and economic pressures that everybody else faces as well, in terms of no job prospects, never really owning a home, never really retiring. Like that's not even a reality for many people at this point. And I think that creates a lot of anger, and especially if you're a young boy and you've grown up in a patriarchal society, you also have a built-in sense of entitlement that comes along with it.
See, already he's
You
like,
see-
like he's just failed miserably. This is like why,
Yeah, like-
even.
Oh god.
I was gonna say, even if we like concede that maybe they do, it's like so
Yeah.
you've already fucking fumbled the ball. Like you just came up to these guys like, I know you have an inbuilt sense of entitlement, but we're gonna fix that. Like you've lost them. They're gone
Yeah,
now.
yeah, it's already gone,
They've
yeah.
stopped listening.
Like what he's saying here is true, but it does not answer the guy's question or the woman's
Doesn't answer
question.
guys. Doesn't answer her question. No solutions provided.
Yeah.
This is why
It's like
I'm
the,
just on-
the solution is to fix the system. It's like,
yeah,
well, how do you fix the system? And how would fixing the system fix this situation?
yeah.
There's a lot more in young white men in general, and a combination of all of those factors, I think, play a very significant role in the way that young men view the world and the anger that they feel. So I know I feel like I'm repeating myself quite a bit on this issue, but it comes from trying to fix some of these underlying societal problems that will help every single person.
Name one
And then
that
outside
I can
of that,
name one
you
policy.
probably have to take a look at education, primary schooling and
We
whatnot.
got to take care
and,
of. We have to
and
take a look at living situation. We have to take a look at education. We have to take a look at the job market. We have to
Like,
take a
name
look
one
at the
policy.
healthcare system. We have
Yeah,
to.
he just brought up education. What's
Yeah.
what's one policy that can be done? Not like some bullshit, like redo the entire educational. That's stupid. Don't say that.
Yeah.
Name one policy in education specifically that you could theoretically enact, like relatively quickly. Name one
All right,
thing.
I will. I have a good one for you right off the bat. This
Right.
this bill is gonna be one sentence.
Okay.
Fire McMahon.
There you go. Done. Fucking
the
God.
curriculums and the way that we educate people, and maybe make some fixes.
I also just don't. I don't
If
even
you
like.
want to, if
Education's got less sexist, not more. Like, why would?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I get that like men are like doing worse and worse, but are they doing like so bad that we would expect like in Generation Z and Alpha, like a seemingly like super sharp split? Like, it's crazy how sharp the split is now between
Yeah,
young men
yeah.
and young women. Like, it's ridiculous how fucking polarized these two groups are getting.
Yeah.
Like, how is increase? Because really, if you pressed him, he'd just be like, "Oh, I don't know, increase funding." Even though we have like the most funding per student in like the civilized world,
And somehow
like,
it's still it's
it's still fucking trash
yeah,
compared to everybody else.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like absolute dog water. So it's just like what's an actual specific policy? Like, I have an actual specific policy: a nationwide ban of cellular devices in the classroom. So just some shit like that. Like, it forces all of them to stay focused on the the curriculum, which like that's just like something I pulled out of my ass. But I've given you more policy prescriptions
Yeah.
than he has.
like he could at least say it's like maybe we can look at this or maybe we can look at that. He doesn't have to give like 100% this is what we need to do. Just
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
This is like maybe this will work because we do this.
Yeah.
So
if you want to tackle this issue, but I don't see any politician coming out and directly addressing that at all.
So you do it.
do it, please.
And so I feel like the problem's only going to worsen. Damn.
He just had a whole speech about not being nihilistic, and he's like, "Bummer, the boys are fucked."
It's true. Oh, hold on, what happened?
Damn. Everybody has a question now.
That's because you didn't answer any questions.
Yeah.
If anything, you just made them come up with more.
Yeah.
Okay, the member that's putting their head up like that, yeah, you.
Hi, thank you very much. I thought it was interesting what you brought about with the growth of right-wing Europe movements in the West. I think the thing which distinguishes what's going on in the States from Europe is it's really centered around one person. You know, the Republican Party is in many ways a Trump party. You know, which begs the question, what happens to the Republican Party after Trump? The Republican Party is a strange coalition of very many different people.
That's a good question.
Only really brought together by their love of this one person.
I mean, they've had
Does
good
it
questions.
fit when he goes?
Yeah.
Does it? Because
Just
a
get
lot
bad
of these
answers.
people really do not like each other. So I would be very interested to hear your view on like what happens after. Thank you.
It's a really interesting question, especially
It's a really interesting question. Now let's dance around it as much as possible.
Yeah. Let's like not give any real answers, and then say material conditions a couple times.
Republican Party tried to recreate their own Trump with that was more controllable by the establishment, with a hyper focus on
DeSantis.
culture war.
Huh?
He's trying. That's just like, I don't understand. He's like, whatever. He's just describing the Republican Party as if it's this like stable thing that's just like working as like a unit, as a system.
And
He's
it's
trying to be
obviously not.
Yeah, because it's a political party. Like
Yeah.
there's so many competing interests, and there's the voters too. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't matter how much the Republican Party is like trying to cajole like who's gonna be the president. At the end of the day, there's a fucking primary with all the Republican voters
Yeah.
voting. So like, you
Yeah,
know,
but-
like
But
Donald
some are
Trump is
obviously going to have
literally
more
the
money for their campaigns and shit.
No, but hold on. But Donald Trump is literally the evidence the Republican Party cannot control itself. Because in
True.
2016, not a single Republican wanted him. Not a single fucking
Yeah.
one. It was all the voters.
Mhm,
It was all the voters being like, "We want the fucking orange man," and all the Republicans were like, "Fuck." And then we all went into 2016 being like, "Well, Hillary's gonna win. Pack it up, boys." And then she fucking lost. Like,
I voted third party. Not that it was going to make a difference, but I did vote third party that year.
I was in high school. I couldn't even vote.
Yeah. So. Ain't sure I could do. I voted for Obama both times, at least.
I voted for him
But
a third
also-
time.
I'll vote for him a third
I
time.
guess more of an intellectual
True.
veneer, but one that hyper focused on policy specifically. His name was Ron DeSantis. And that was an obvious failure. The more people heard about Ron DeSantis, the more they found out he was a goober and horrible to be around. Just really bad vibes in general. So I think that
Donald Trump has
is
incredible rape charges.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't understand how you can whatever.
Held civilly liable.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense
Crazy.
for you to be like, whatever. It's just like a minor point, but it just doesn't make sense to be like, oh well, Ron DeSantis. It just turns out he was a bit of a yucky guy, and then we have Donald Trump who's like, grab my
Vibes
pussy. I lost some rape cases. I fucked a porn star. Like what?
Oh, bro. So in one of the debate servers, I was, typing with a guy, and he was a Republican. I think he was a Christian nationalist. I found out, but like I was talking with him, and he's like, yeah, no, it's like the Republican Party just seems cool. I like the people in it. I'm like, are you saying your stance is like vibes based? He's like, in some ways it is. I'm like,
The
It's like,
vibes are
bro.
immaculate here.
they're so godly.
Jesus fucking
It
Christ.
was funny because he was very much a Christian. He was like, oh yeah, no, a lot of shit that Trump's doing is like fucking terrible. He's kind of Republican, I guess. He was weird about it, but he was like, I'm for like all the social programs, free healthcare and all that shit. But then if you ask him about LGBT people, he's like, no, they're weird. They're fucking awful.
Yeah.
They need to not be that. I'm like, sure. It's like, you're not very Christ-like anymore.
in a very similar way, Donald Trump is like, I say this jokingly, but Donald Trump is white man's Obama, where Barack Obama was incredibly charismatic. And with all of that talent.
Yeah, Trump is charismatic if he was in like a senior home. If he was...
He's like...
Oh,
He's charismatic to a certain group.
Yeah. Obama was just kind of like objectively charismatic.
Yeah, he's definitely more of a universal, like, wow, what a cool guy.
Yeah.
As opposed to Trump, where
Trump is-
he's like, you got to be in like a certain headspace.
Like Trump would do really well if his audience, if he swapped out, went to one of Joe Rogan's comedy shows and swapped with Joe Rogan. That would be the audience.
Yeah, exactly.
Fucking Joe Rogan's so shit at comedy.
With his rhetorical skills.
One of my friends thought he was funny. I
able
was like,
to,
as a train wreck.
Commit Americans to a campaign of hope and change, despite the fact that his governance was still very much the same third way neoliberalism. Having Republicans in his cabinet.
Third way.
become,
Actually, if you're talking about third way, you're talking about like fascism.
Coffee shop? Oh.
No. Like you just can't say third, or is he saying third wave neoliberalism?
I think he's
as
saying
in
third
just, like-
wave.
Oh, okay. I thought he kept saying third way, which I'm like
third
I'm
way
like, fascism?
neoliberalism.
Oh, wait, maybe he is
Governance
saying third way.
was still very much the same third way neoliberalism.
Oh, it is way. Okay.
Yeah. Economically liberal and social democrat economic policy. Okay. So he's just saying like, yeah. So you're just still capitalist, but then you give people stuff. Awesome, bro. I'm a third way neoliberal. This is crazy.
You learned something new today.
I know.
I think some of these things get a little too specific.
I'm gonna assume
That's
that
neat.
third way is just like made up by leftists.
Maybe,
This
yeah.
doesn't. Yeah, like I've never heard of this
Late
phrase.
stage
and
capitalism is also made up by.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Where it's like fucking Karl Marx thought it was late stage capitalism when he was around. Like, bro, capitalism's been in its late stage for quite a while.
Yeah.
You know, having Republicans in his cabinet, things that Kamala Harris
Post-late.
also pushed
Post-late
for.
stage.
And Democrats have tried to recreate that over and over again, and they have not succeeded. And I think the Republicans will fail in a similar fashion as well. So there is a real holistic problem within the Republican Party because they've leaned so much into the most insane parts of their base. And when I say insane, I don't just mean like right-wing reaction. I mean literally insane, like QAnon. Things like that, like people who just like legitimately think vaccines make you gay and autistic, like that is not sustainable.
True.
And
true.
So I don't know what will happen after Donald Trump leaves power.
Apparently my vaccinations didn't work because I got neither of those.
I got one of them.
You did get one.
Because I don't know
what the
if
fuck.
J.D. Vance will be another Ron DeSantis, or if he will actually be able to commit to, I don't know, whatever happens, whatever fascist future we are.
I only just found out
foreseeing
that
for
J.D. Vance was a
America.
left-wing atheist.
But
at
I
one
do
point.
think that there is a real crisis in the Republican Party as
Apparently.
well.
He
We
was all
saw that
kinds
in the
of everything. He
midterms.
was all kinds of shit.
Except
He was a fucking
instead of
atheist. He was a tech bro. Now he's a Christian nationalist.
Yeah, it's bizarre.
taking advantage of that crisis, the Democrats
Lightbringer,
seemingly
I
still
got
found
both
a
of
way
them.
to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory.
Yeah, the remember putting their card up right there with the glasses? Yeah, you, yes.
Is the card a flex?
No, it's
Wait, did he actually answer the question? Oh well, he kind of.
That's what
He
happens.
kind of.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
vaguely.
It's like they might just have another person they'll push, and he doesn't think it'll work. I guess.
Yeah. He took a long time to say that, and
Yeah.
then he said something about JD Vance.
He's like, yo,
We can say a lot of things about JD Vance.
Yeah, but he doesn't know fucking get this spot about JD
I
Vance.
was wondering if you saw the kind of
He's not
viral
woke
tweet
on
this
that
week
like I
about
am.
the Cambridge PhD with the olfactory ethics of prose and all the kind of the anti.
oh, she was in Cambridge?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, okay.
And it made me kind of think about fascist anti-intellectualism, and then kind of wider
she's
about
super
the
cute.
sort of place of universities in a wider leftist movement and going to university. I think that's kind of relevant for all of us. And I was just wondering if you had thoughts on that generally.
Yeah, that was so interesting because I think like the right wing mind is so baby brained in many ways because they
Again,
think
I already
like,
failed it. I mean,
It's like
I might agree a little bit, but I'm just more rhetoric pilled. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it is. It depends on what you're trying to accomplish. At this point,
Yeah.
Hassan is not willing to. I mean, assuming he is Marxist-Leninist, and he probably is, he's probably very much not willing to actually discuss things, at the very least, with the right.
Yeah, or
And
he's
then-
only willing to discuss them with people who are like mind-numbingly stupid, who would like not be like if Hassan got in a room with Ben Shapiro, he'd lose. He needs to be in
Yeah.
a room with like I don't know, like Alex Jones or somebody who's just
Yeah.
like, absolutely
mouthpiece.
rabid.
Yeah.
Yeah, like complete knuckle dragger who will like pose a zero threat.
Hmm.
you know, what you're supposed to do at like an English lit PhD is talk about how sick the Odyssey is. Like that's what they think. And I saw a lot of people criticizing this person, being like, "Oh, why is this hyper niche, like hyper specific thing that you focused on for your dissertation?" It's like that's what you're supposed to do. Like,
Yeah.
and I mean, in that intellectual examination, you end up uncovering certain truths that you never would have thought. And I see a broader problem with the way that the right looks at all matter of scientific inquiry. And it's very frustrating, and it's also very damaging when you have Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy talking about the Department of
Vivek.
Government Efficiency, named after Dogecoin. I mean, it's idiocracy. Like, we literally are living in idiocracy.
When I first saw
meme.
Idiocracy, it's true. Plants love electrolytes.
Yeah, they do, bro.
Fucking the first time I saw Vivek, I was like, Vivek's older than me, and I'm like, this dude is just a punk kid. He's just a rich kid. Like, he
He's the one
just
that wrote
seems
the
like a
book.
rich punk.
Isn't he the guy who wrote the book, or am I tripping? Is that the other guy?
I don't know. No,
There's the-
Vivek did not. Are you talking about like the King Trump book?
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
different guy.
Is that the head of the FBI?
No, that was Kash Patel. He wrote the book. Yeah. No, Vivek
Okay, yeah, so
Ramaswamy
it's that, yeah.
is like 40 now or something, if
Okay.
that. And like he's a big business guy.
He's a billionaire, apparently.
Yeah, billionaire, and he was supporting Trump. Like, he's very pro-Trump.
When he's in the cabinet, so he bought his way in. Good job, team.
Yeah. What does he run?
Let's see. What are you up to, Vivek?
He just seems
He
like a
is-
skeevy little man.
Just skeevy little fucker.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, is he not? Maybe he is. Just never mind. Oh, I guess he was a political candidate. Sorry. My bad.
Yeah. And then after that, but even while he was running, he was still like dapping up Trump and everything.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So.
Okay, yeah. So he tried to run in Ohio. That's what it was. Ah, okay.
But
No,
anyway,
he
hopefully
tried to
we just
run-
never hear from him again.
Yeah, well, apparently he's running for Ohio gubernatorial campaign. So
Oh,
he's trying again. He's
no.
trying to get in.
Well, it's Ohio, so he has a shot, I guess. Is he from Ohio? I thought he was Floridian.
He fucking apparently he also ran in. He ran for the president, so I don't know. Maybe he is. It says he's born in Cincinnati, Ohio.
Oh, okay.
So,
So no.
hold on. I gotta go to the bathroom.
Yep. I'm gonna watch a cute dog video. That was a cute dog video. I am tired, but I'm gonna be having dinner in a bit. So that'll be nice. My whole week's gone by so fucking quickly, guys. Like, even the days I woke up earlier and had a little more time, it's just like, just right to evening, gotta go to sleep again. It's frustrating. I mean, like, there's some good things about it, because I always look forward to hanging out with my friends on Saturday, but I forgot to post this in Deconstruction Junction. Oh well. Do. I like sleep between 3 and 5. Wait, so you only get 2 hours? Is that what you're telling me? Light, you need to take better care of it. Oh, to wake up at 12. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I've been going to bed around like 12, and I've been, well, usually like I'll go to bed at 12 and then I'll like start watching YouTube because, as you do, and then I'll wake up between like 9 and 10, get to sleep around 1-ish. I don't know, it varies. I have like sleep problems, so like I need to. I don't know. I have a terrible sleeping schedule. I mean, as long as the schedule is consistent, you get between 7 to 9 hours of sleep every night. For the most part, you'll be fine. Some people actually just straight up have different times of day where their body just lets them get more or less sleep, basically. Like, we all have a natural preference for going to bed at different times.
Circadian rhythms.
Basically. I mean, obviously you can like build a habit, but like if you have no schedule, there's always going to be like one thing you'll always go back to. Pretty much.
Yeah.
World now, but one thing that they are constantly
I actually got a blood test yesterday to check my vitamin D.
Are you low? I was super
Don't know.
low.
I mean, most people are low.
I was when he told
but it
me,
might
he
help
was like,
sleep.
I talked to the doctor and he was like, the medical community says that you should have between 30 and 100. And then he's like, really? That's just because on average everyone's so low. Like an actual healthy amount is 60 to 100. And I was like, that's crazy, bro. And he's like, yeah, you had 15. I was like, oh
shit.
All right.
I'm curious to see what mine's gonna be because I don't get out that much.
Yeah. So he's like, it's okay. You can get vitamin D supplements. So I would just recommend you. Yeah, he's like, here are some supplements, and then you mix it with like K12 or something, and then that means it doesn't get processed in the liver and cause like kidney stones. It like just gets put into my bones or something.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
like,
as long as you don't take too much vitamin D. Like I was doing research on it. It was like whatever unit of measurement they did, it was like 1,000 IU seems to be decent. Like it's not enough to hurt you, but it's enough to get all you need.
Yeah.
Apparently. I don't know. I just feel culpability for not having the most healthy lifestyle possible.
I too feel culpability about that.
like they've been constantly pointing to is why are we spending, $2 million on like raccoon piss? And it's like, yeah, you probably don't understand why the government is doing that, but like my immediate reaction to that isn't like, oh, these dumb woke scientists are doing that. Like there's probably a reason for it. And then lo and behold, you find out like, no, there is actually a reason for it. It's like trying to figure out new methods of
how that's supposed to go.
Warding off predators without while using pheromones that are not necessarily dangerous to the environment, right? So this is really scary when you have these people that are in control of the funding mechanisms of the government, and their stupidity is going to shut off a lot of scientific research. And I'm
apparently
very
a
frustrated
Cambridge
by that.
lady asked a question or something, and
But I don't know where we go from here, really. I just hope that maybe maybe you'll jiggle some keys in front of them and their attention will focus on something else, hopefully, because God forbid you let these guys run the show. I mean, it's gonna be awful. But it also, I mean, I guess is similar to Nazi Germany as well, where they were like very desperately trying to find, trying to dampen the way artistic expression worked, and they were like really hyper focused. They thought like modern art was degenerate, and they wanted to recreate more orthodox versions of art, and obviously that was a failure. So,
but nothing like Hitler's. Hitler was not good at art.
No,
I think when there's a will, there's a way, and hopefully people will overcome these problems.
Idiocracy is a term I should use more. Yes.
I do have a.
Number here.
I do have I have another. Basically, one of the reasons that like fascists were so into aesthetics was because of Nietzsche, and he talks about in what's the fucking one I just read? The one where he talks about shit, I literally just took it. Hold on, let me open up my Obsidian notes because I just took a fuckload. I just like transferred all my notes to it. The Birth of Tragedy. There you go. Where he talks about like aesthetics and like why he thinks they're important. And he brings up this extremely interesting point that like one of the benefits of aesthetics is that it's kind of like it engages in this like irrational part of your brain.
That's marketing.
Yeah, basically, it's just, but it's like you feel like aesthetics have a way to make you like feel powerful, but like not, but like you just don't know why.
Well, it's also the aesthetics make it feel more real and not just an idea.
Yeah, exactly. You can like portray the ideal.
Yeah. It's like you have physical representation of all of it, and you're like, oh, now I can bathe myself in the aesthetics of this.
Yeah.
And stuff. So
And I still like
reinforce it.
I think, yeah. And I think the modern right is actually super into aesthetics. They're like mega into aesthetics. They talk about working out all the time, and then they're like all about wearing suits and all this shit. Like that's definitely one of my goals is like if I like got huge or some shit like that, is like you need to like really I think in order to win a right-wing audience is it's not even like the arguments. It's like you just need to understand that it is like an aesthetic, like first and foremost. Like you need to dress a certain way, you need to like articulate yourself in a certain way. This is why I'm like very anti like woke, quote unquote, like language in my rhetoric, because I'm like, you just lose those people. You need to understand to get these people on your team is you just like sell them the fucking aesthetic. At least that's
the thing is they don't like the aesthetic of a lot of left-leaning people, even though a lot of left-leaning people also wear suits and shit. But like
right, but that's why you like embrace the like right wing. You also need to, there's also like, I don't know, there's like a marbling of like kind of nihilistic like irony in everything that they do as well. Like you just need to be able to, if you can like encapsulate all these things into the aesthetic, I think that's like for me that's like the actual way you win the right wing young male audience, is you just give them like this sick fucking thing that they're like, this is awesome.
Yeah, basically. I think it really is more or less all you need to do. It was pretty funny. Pete Buttigieg was I think he was on a podcast, you know, a right wing podcast. And apparently pretty right leaning. And like I watched it, and like people in the comments were like, you know, if Pete Buttigieg was running, I would have voted for Democrats. Like, was it really that easy? Apparently it is.
Pete is sick. I hope he becomes president. Please,
True.
Pete.
True.
Please.
Please run. Please run.
Yeah.
Question, I believe.
These questions, by the way, I don't know what he's gonna ask. Okay. These questions, I will admit, have been a lot more policy focused than the Cambridge ones were. I don't know.
And it's like, this is why I'm struggling right now.
Yeah, literally, bro. That's why you have no fucking answers.
I'm curious about the Cambridge shit.
I saw a YouTube video of you 5 years ago where you were making a joke that I'm taking seriously. Why did you say that? And I was like, I mean, it's a joke.
I did have some quotes I couldn't get to.
Oh, damn, you were ready.
I was ready, but I was like, I'll be nicer.
Someone honestly asked me, like, why do you think Crimea belongs to Turkey?
Wait, you got asked that at Cambridge?
Yes.
We are the better place.
That was, I mean, yeah, so far it's been great.
But
I don't know
he thinks Crimea was
Someone
lawful.
also,
Like,
someone didn't even have a question. My last question
Russia was okay, so
in Cambridge was,
they just asked
my last question at Cambridge was, why do you call yourself a socialist when you have a house?
That is a dumb question.
That should be like a t-shirt quote.
I mean,
I'm gonna bet he is like very much lying about how Cambridge went. That just does not feel correct, but it could. Whatever. I could just be.
It might have just been like students as he walked through the campus or something.
Well, because I know he had a debate afterwards in Cambridge where students were arguing with him. So yeah, maybe I don't know.
Particular kind of one thing you've said, but as you've just alluded to, I think there are quite a few things that people kind of consistently bring up against you, which I think you say in jest, and kind of I see where it comes from. But do you think at times it's proved kind of damaging and kind of unconstructive with some of the things you've said in the past? Particularly people bring up kind of very popularly kind of what you might have said about 9/11 or October 7th.
Okay, that was the quote.
America deserves 9/11, bro.
America deserved 9/11? I mean, so, no, you're right. I agree. I think it comes with a format for the most part, if we're going to be super serious about it.
Can you just say, no, we didn't
I'm
deserve
talking
it,
for 8
please?
to 10 hours.
No, sorry.
Sometimes,
you can't say that.
you know, tensions get high.
You have to. This was like years ago, but it was like
I get
he was like, no, you have to understand the
I'm very
nuance
passionate.
that like America's foreign policy was riling up groups in the Middle East. And
Sure,
so
the U.S. did some shitty things, but that doesn't mean they deserved 9/11.
Yeah, look, you're preaching to the choir, all right? I'm just.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
he was like the like argument that they made was basically like that like America, it was like, it shouldn't have been unexpected. I still just like that was that was like how he tried to spin it. I think the real answer is he just doesn't like America and thinks it deserved 9/11, but that's whatever.
Like I think you could say it's like it wasn't that surprising.
Yeah.
If you knew, but like.
Or you could say like not even 9/11. You could just generalize it to be like the fact that we had a terrorist attack against us should not have been unexpected given our foreign policy.
Yeah.
Some shit like that.
That would be a good answer.
Yeah, exactly. But he doesn't do that because that's not what he believes. He believes that America is an imperialist power that should be like completely destroyed. So he supports terrorist attacks against the United States. That's it.
And I say things that can be very easily misconstrued, right?
Well, then don't say those things.
Even the 9/11 quote is
easily
that
misconstrued.
Is virtually not even a point of contention.
Well, hold on.
Right? Even the 9/11 quote is something that is virtually not even a point of contention in academic literature if you discuss it as a point of blowback. Like if you meddle in the affairs of the world, inevitably the very same people that you propped up as brave mujahideen that were anti-Soviet warriors on the road to peace. That was the way that Osama bin Laden was featured in, I believe, 1993 on a famous Independent article. Yeah, those guys are going to inevitably be like, I'm going to use the training and the guns you gave me against you. And that was what I was talking about in that situation, but did not communicate it in the best ways possible. And especially with the clickbait culture.
No, he's fucking lying, by the way. He went on his uncle's podcast and he was like, oh, well, you know, English isn't my first language. Like, he's just a fucking liar.
Isn't he American?
Is he? I think he like technically originated from Turkey, but he's like, but it's one of those things where it's like, as far as I know, like I think he's lived in America longer than he's lived in Turkey at this point, and even if not, his English is clearly flawless. Like he knew exactly what he was saying.
And he didn't say it like as in just like, oh well, English isn't my first language.
Yeah, no, it wasn't a joke because fucking Cenk, his uncle, the host of a mega progressive podcast that has like a socialist on it, was literally like, okay, but America doesn't actually deserve 9/11, right? And then he's like, well, and, you know, as an immigrant, you know, English is not my first language. You know, I'm just trying to point out that like American foreign policy, and it's like, okay, that's crazy. You said all those words. Yeah. Do you think America deserved to have to suffer 9/11? We can agree that it is like expected to suffer a terrorist attack if you fuck with other countries long enough. Like, sure, we can agree to this in theory, but then to be like, did we deserve 9/11? Probably not.
No, definitely not. Especially not the people that were in the building. You're like,
yeah, exactly.
Or on the planes or where
that we now have. Whenever I talk about complex,
I'm
nuanced,
slowly corrupting you. You're becoming a hater too.
Dense geopolitical issue.
I mean, I never really watched him to begin with, so.
You can always make it. You can always cut it in a way where you can make it seem like I'm saying the exact opposite thing that I'm actually saying. But I think
the person that asked the question should really just like lay in him is like, do you think the U.S. deserved it?
No, well, he just thinks that he did. Like the student probably just agrees whether or not, because the question is just like, do you think this is harming your career?
Yeah, true. But
ultimately,
but he still won't. It'd be so easy for him to just like deny it. It's like, yeah, no. Even if he did mean it at that time, if he didn't mean it now, he'd be like, yeah, no, that was a mistake. I don't actually believe that.
You should, don't. People should not get hit by planes.
The way I feel about
or
it
be
is
in
like,
those planes.
I would rather still maintain somewhat of a humorous nature, even if it's like gallows humor. Not saying that about the 9/11 thing, but just in general, instances where I've like been clipped out of context or been taken seriously when I'm very obviously joking. I don't believe Crimea belongs to Turkey.
Right, you just think it belongs to Russia. Crazy.
I would rather continue doing my coverage in the way that I'm doing it and not succumb to the naysayers and people who wish to try to stop me and smear me and cynically clip me out of context in an effort to try and censor
All
me.
he ever
I'd
says,
much
he
rather
always just
continue
says
doing
clip me
it
out
the
of context, and he can never actually provide a single fucking example where he was clipped out of context because it doesn't exist.
Wait, how
Or
I'm
it
doing?
does exist, but the idea that like
Yeah.
the idea that like the big time haters of his are like clipping it out of context is just fucking wrong.
It because I feel like it'd be very boring. There are a million content creators out there who engage in the dense subject matter with the academic tone that it deserves, right? I'm trying to make things more entertaining. I'm trying to make things more appealing, and I'm trying to educate people while also,
Hey again, Coffee.
Sometimes making
Finishing
them laugh
up.
or entertaining them. So that's my first
I mean, okay, so like, sure, yeah, make it more entertaining. That's great. But don't admit that you think America deserved 9/11.
Yeah, and then don't, or like if you say it in a heated gamer moment, we all got gamer moments. Just
Sure.
chill, bro.
Sure.
You have
yeah.
a heated gamer moment and you say America deserved 9/11, just be like, my bad, dog. They don't deserve 9/11. Don't go on your uncle's podcast and then be like, oh well, English is my first language. Like that's not a good look.
It's just like it's like people who trying to defend Elon's salute.
Yeah,
it's like, oh, he
it's
just doesn't
like-
understand social cues or something.
Yeah, it's like, why are we putting so much? This just doesn't make sense. Like, why are we putting so much fucking work behind just like what is like this thing that obviously happened? Like, I just don't get it.
Yeah.
That's my primary focus. And if things get misconstrued along the way, then it is what it is, There's not really much I can do about it.
So that was the last question. Thank you so much for coming. Everyone just please remain seated while my guest and I leave. But that's Hassan Piker. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you wait for us, you fucking plebeians.
Yeah, you fucking plebs. You stay still. Clap, clap, clap. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Hassan. Yay.
Hassan Sama.
Hassan Sensei.
All right. Well, do you have any like closing statements?
I don't know. Hassan bad. Yeah, that's it.
All right, sick. All right, okay. Yeah, no, I have not indulged in much of Hassan's stuff. This was not a great look for him. As someone on the outside of, is someone who's like more or less neutral towards him. Yeah, no, at the very least, his presentation style. This is just whatever. It's just like it's very just. It hits the minimum requirements of decent speech. Basically, that's
Right.
fine. So that's fine. Whatever. I'm out of practice with it, so probably do better than me. Actually, no, I'm good at speeches. Fuck him.
Yeah, fuck this guy, bro.
So, and then
As far as
he
answering
just basically
questions.
dodged all the questions. I mean, he even said himself, it's like they're very policy focused. Is like, it's like, oh well, that's apparently why you can't answer him because you don't have any
Actual fucking
solutions.
policies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Coffee. Never really liked Hassan. Kyle is the only lefty I really watch. I don't agree with everything though. I don't know Kyle, but
Kyle Kalinske. That'd be my thought. This guy with like the bleached hair.
So yeah, I don't know.
Oh yeah.
Kyle Kalinske, yeah. Well, other than that, probably gonna close it up here. Thank you guys for stopping by. Appreciate you coming to the reaction. We didn't get any debates today, but I think we still had a good time reacting. Maybe we'll just become a react channel at this point. Like
Might as well.
as you said, it's like the YouTube slop.
Yeah.
Just fuck
As
it.
long as we can churn out regular
Hair
videos,
is
then
bad.
great.
Yeah, true. So had a good time. Please check out Deadliest Squid on Twitch and on YouTube. He has his own content as well. Yeah. Leave a like, follow, all that bullshit.